welcome to another episode of Funjelah. On this episode, I was going to take it from the top, but I'm just going to leave this in here because that's hilarious. On this episode, my friend Shane Stevens takes us to church, and we were not prepared. Shane is an amazing music artist. He's so talented on so many different fronts, and he shares with us some very wild stories from his personal experience with his faith, and his faith being a spirit-filled gay Christian man. Some of the stories he told us, we were all like, what? That's crazy. Anyways, this episode is a good one, so you're going to want to tune in. And also, don't forget to go to my website and see when I'm coming to a city near you. I only have a few cities left for the rest of the year. I'm pretty sure they're sold out. But lucky for you, my new tour, the Family Reunion Tour, starts in March. Tickets are on sale now. If you don't see your city on the list, leave me a message and tell me where I should go to on my second leg of the Family Reunion Tour. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a review. You guys, reviews are super important. So go to like Apple Podcasts and leave us a review there and tell everybody why you love our podcast so much. What else? Oh, the phone number, Danielle, where people should call if they want to tell us what they're grateful for.
Absolutely. 747-300-5380.
You heard it right here. Call us, tell us what you are grateful for. And until then, watch this episode of Funjelah with my friend Shane Stevens. When I text you earlier and I was like, maybe you can help me like fill in with decor and stuff. That was partly me like asking if you'd help me fill in decor, but then also
do it.
No, that was also me like preemptively don't judge me. That was my don't judge me when you get here, Shane, because
everything's beige. Everything's where beige went to die. At least it's not gray.
Yeah. I wanted it to be like calming and chill.
Yeah.
But I know you're so good at home decor stuff that I was like, oh my God, he's going to judge me so hard.
Either want a gorgeous tone pattern on this wall or a grass cloth.
Ooh.
Grass? You say grass wall?
Grass cloth.
Can you bring it closer?
Grass cloth moment.
Bring it a little bit closer.
Little grass cloth moment. It's a wallpaper that was huge in the 80s and 90s, which has made a massive comeback.
Really?
It's gorgeous. And it's mandatory. I may be a little spicy today, coming looking like I'm a member of Schitt's Creek. So.
Yes. No, you totally do.
I'm so sorry I'm late. I've been in so many different time zones. I was in Maine. I was in New Hampshire. I was in Los Angeles. I was at our place in North Carolina, and I got here last night.
Wow.
And I was literally redecorating this second guest room in our house.
I need to come see it.
I had my best friend. She came in with me, and then one of our neighbors ordered a bed, and they sent two. And so she's like, do you want this bed? I'm like, girl, don't threaten me with a good time. What's it look like?
Stop.
It's so cute, though.
Even if it wasn't cute, you would have made it work. You would have been like, oh, I'll just paint it. I'll get new. I'll screw off these things. I'll put new.
I'll get new ones. But it's so cute. And now the room is super cozy. And now I've got to wallpaper that room.
Have you seen those accounts on TikTok or Instagram where they go, what I thrifted and how I styled it?
Oh, yeah. That's me.
That's you.
That's totally me.
You should do those videos.
You know, I should do so many things.
I know. Don't do it. You have to. You're too busy. Don't do it. I'm sorry for adding more to your plate.
I told Eric the other day, I was like, I think I'm going to take some acting classes.
When?
And he's like, why would you do that? You already do that every day in your life. I'm like, no, because I hosted this award show in LA 2 weeks ago. And it's my second year in a row with my friend Bonnie McKee, and we did teleprompters and everything. And then I realized, I don't need this teleprompter because I've memorized everything everyone is going to say.
Oh, my God. Your brain.
And I love attention. Clearly. It was really fun. I love it. I love hosting.
Yeah. You do?
Really love it. Like, I'm very comfortable.
Live event hosting?
Live event hosting. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I've been on, and I have the wrinkles on my forehead to prove it because I'm always like this. Until next week.
Until my appointment.
Until my dentist appointment when they clean my teeth and do my Botox. I I've been so expressive since I was a child, and I've been on stage since I was like in the 2nd grade.
Wow.
Singing in the 3rd grade choir like a big boy.
Yes, you were.
And I'll Be Home for Christmas. That was my first solo.
And you had a solo?
I did. In front of the 3rd grade choir.
Wow.
I was so little. But I've loved it since then, and I've never, ever been nervous on a stage.
Wow.
Ever. Unless I didn't feel well and I was going to have to fake it and I was worried about my voice. But a few years ago when we did this George Michael tribute concert, I had food poisoning the night before and I had thrown up for 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And flew from LA.
Oh no.
Had a quick rehearsal, got on, and my throat was burning so bad. And that made me nervous. But once the adrenaline kicked in, I was like, let's go.
That's interesting. Like, I don't typically get nervous in my shows, but I will get nervous if, and then I have a list of things. And it's like, one, if I'm trying a new joke and I've been thinking about it and it's like, it's a bit or it requires an act out. It requires actual like commitment to it.
Right.
And I'm thinking about it. I get nervous because I'm like, okay,
am I selling this right?
Here it comes.
What if they don't laugh?
You know what I mean? And then not only that I'm nervous about the bit. Now I'm like, okay, that bit's not until 17 minutes into my set. So I'm thinking about it for those 17 minutes. So I'm like, I'm delivering my jokes, but then at the same time, I'm still thinking about the joke that's coming. So I'll be like in the zone, delivering this one joke. And then I remind myself, you have a new joke coming in 11 minutes. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. You know what I mean? And it's like a constant mind game that I'm playing with myself. So if I have like a new big bit that I'm trying, I get a little nervous. Or if sometimes I get nervous if I'm doing a set, which I've got so much better at.
You're completely unscripted on stage, right?
I mean, I do my set, my jokes, like, so it's kind of scripted because it is exactly I don't do crowd
like
work.
You don't have a teleprompter or anything.
Oh, no. Like if I'm doing a set at the Comedy Store.
Right.
Or something like that, sometimes I get nervous for that because like that's not my crowd. Right. And then I'm thinking about like who else is on the lineup, and it's like a lot of comics that are awesome, but they're definitely not we're not in the same genre.
Right.
And so I immediately get in my head and be like, oh, people probably really want to see like this kind of comedy. They don't want to hear a clean
they don't
set.
Hear, bless it.
They don't want to hear bless your heart. They don't want to hear, and so when I was breastfeeding, like, you know what I mean? And then I'll get in my head, but then I get on a stage and no, they did want to hear it. They did want to hear my story.
They want to relate.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, why do I do this to myself?
Yeah.
Why do I do that to myself? Anyway, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad I'm here. I feel like it's been forever and 3 days since I saw you last.
It really, really has. It's been
Rosie's
too
birthday.
long. Was it? It was. It was Rosie's first birthday. You just so happened to be in LA. And I was like, oh, we're having Rosie's first birthday party. Come on over.
Honey, if my first birthday party was like that, well, first of all, the cops would have come.
Well, we're Mexican and Puerto Rican. There's a lot of people that we had to. And we didn't even do a big thing. Like, I have a lot of friends on social media that do huge birthday parties, like themes and just vendor after vendor after vendor, and like all
and look at me and my life on Instagram.
It's like a whole thing.
Right.
And like, as much as I look at that, I go, wow, that's amazing. It gives me anxiety to think about pulling something off like that.
Totally.
So I was like, we're just going to do a backyard pool party.
And it also happened to be the hottest day in LA, and then your air conditioning went out.
And my air conditioning broke.
Oh,
I was like, I'm just going to do a backyard pool party, and instead of me barbecuing myself at the grill, I'm going to hire a guy
and
to
then barbecue yourself inside.
Barbecue. Yeah. That was my big treat for the party, was like, I hired a guy to come barbecue.
And it was great.
And yeah, it was great. It worked out. Everybody came, they swam, they had fun. We had bubbles, and it was like, I'm trying to like replicate my own childhood, and our birthday parties were cake and ice cream. Like, that's it. Like, you have friends and family come over.
Cake and ice cream.
We have cake and ice cream. And we just love each other. Yep. And we have fun. We tell stories. We laugh. Like, I want to do that. You know? But anyway, so yeah, it's been too long since I've seen you. We have so much to catch up on personally that is not for the podcast. But I mean, maybe there'll be a little bit of it in the podcast. But I've known you for so long, and I'm so glad that I do. I'm so happy to know you. Oh, when I say you inspire me, it's in so many different ways, but in like ways like you wouldn't think. Like Shane, he's a talented songwriter, he's a creative. He can do your hair. He can style your bedroom, he can style your wardrobe. He'll write you a hit song that's going to retire your great grandkids. He is so talented in all of those things, but you mostly inspire me spiritually.
That's the best part.
Oh my
Thank you.
god. Shane.
We're gonna go there today, aren't we?
Oh my god, Shane is so connected.
Thank you.
So tuned in. And I love it, and it inspires me, and anytime I spend time with you, I feel encouraged to go deeper in my own faith, in my own spiritual practices. Whereas sometimes it's a spiritual practice in the same way like going to the gym sometimes is a practice, right? Like sometimes you don't want to go to the gym, but you know what? Let me pause what I'm doing and pray. Let me stop what I'm doing and go to the gym. It's the same kind of like sometimes you have to like practice it and get in a groove, and you get in a spiritual groove, you get in a physical groove, like whatever it is. So anytime I leave being with you, I have this encouragement to like go deeper in my practice and things like that. And I want to like talk about all of this stuff with you and how I'm so grateful for you, and I want to hear everything that you're grateful for in your life right now. I have so many things going on, and it's so good. And we also have to get to a MADtitude, which we typically start with a MADtitude. And of course, I've already jumped right in with
okay.
Shane. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to just like not jump in right away with you. But do you have a MADtitude?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for all
Okay.
that. That's the greatest compliment ever. It is, yeah, it is a spiritual relationship more so than anything. You know, my prayer, especially when I turned 40, was, God, I want to go deeper.
Mm.
And then last year it turned into, I'm going to cry, Lord, Holy Spirit. Well, last year it turned into, I was standing on my dock that music paid for, which is amazing. Right on the land, in the river, on the river where I was baptized when I was 9. And I had this, when I was talking to the Lord about wanting to go deeper, I said, God, if there's anyone that I'm harboring unforgiveness for, would you please show me? Because I can't let past hurts or things like that keep me from what you have for me. So people's names started popping up.
Stop.
And I was like, but I thought I've forgiven them. He goes, no, you're still holding on. You got to let it go. You got to give it to me. Just give it to me. You give me everything else. Just give it to me. Because I want to fix things. You know what I mean? We have, friends that we've gone through a lot with that we've had to let go, and it was incredibly painful.
Yes.
But God always does confirmation for me. So as soon as I said, I have conversations with God more than I even pray. I love to pray for people. But when I talk to God, it's like we're talking right now. And I'm like, well, this is messed up, Lord. What you going to do?
Yeah.
Because I can't do this.
Yeah,
I'm surrendering this.
Yeah.
But I got an immediate email from a friend that I had to break up with. And it was a bad breakup. I recorded the message that I left for this person for the friendship breakup.
Yeah.
And I sent it to Pastor Dan and Sarah. I was like, this is my accountability. I need you to hear what I said. And this is why. But I got an email from that person. Oh, sorry. I got an email. I got an email from that person. And that's why everything can't be cream, Anjelah. Coffee.
I was like watching your hands go, and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Just move it. Just move it.
Yeah. I got an email from that person that day.
Yeah.
Within hours.
Stop.
Asking me to forgive them. And I said, it's so funny that you're emailing me this, because I just asked the Lord if there was anyone that I was harboring anything against or that I needed to forgive. But of course I forgive you. And, please, forgive me for anything that hurt your heart. But I also made it very clear that this friendship was not going forward, that I was going to be praying for them. But, You know, when you're in a
Is this the
season,
person I think it is?
no.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't hear that
Girl,
part.
I would have been over here on the floor.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute, what? Okay,
No, it's
different
not.
one.
It's a
Okay, go
different
ahead.
one. But I just, I wasn't expecting it, but I just, you know, when you're in a season of promotion, there's some people that just can't come with you,
Yep.
whether it hurts or not.
Ugh.
And I just had to leave it at that.
Mhm.
And I let Eric read the email. He's like, babe, I cannot believe you were so direct, honest, and kind, like that way.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. I love you. I'm
Mhm.
praying for you. I
Mhm.
forgive you. If there's any hurt that you have towards me, please forgive me.
Mhm.
But this is not opening
Yeah.
the door for you to come back into my life.
Yeah.
I just had to let go completely.
Wow.
And there haven't been very many others that have popped up. A few where I'm just like, God, man, I'm still holding on to this. If I'd really truly forgiven something,
Yeah.
I don't need to be rehashing it and thinking about
Yeah.
it or talking about the story to anybody else.
Right,
That's
right,
just
right.
gossipy and
Exactly.
bullshit, and you shouldn't do that.
Nope. Yeah.
So Holy Spirit likes to check me on it. And I've also realized when I get around certain family members how I behave or how it triggers me, and I have to check myself on that. So it's a season of checking myself.
Wow.
But the deeper place has been good. So I really appreciate you saying that, because that's an honor. I love Jesus so much, and I just want everybody to know you can be right where you are, and we're all a work in progress.
Yeah.
And he'll never not come to you.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, babe.
It took me a long time.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I had a massive encounter with Jesus when I was 33 with my friend Lana, and she's a Jewish girl born in South Africa, and it changed my whole life, and I'll never go back. I'll never believe any other way. And I know they say never, but when you experience and encounter God in such a real way, and he shares the most intimate details of your childhood that that person could never know, and then tells them, this is where he was. This is where I was in the room. When this was happening to you, this is where I was. I have always been with you, even before you asked me. And I just think that's beautiful. And I feel like in the church culture, we've been taught that we have to invite this thing, and if you don't, you're not saved. And I think my belief system has changed a little bit, but I always go to the Lord and ask. Like when I would go to Palm Springs, the desert, by myself, and be in a house by myself, I made it my business to open my Bible and read and read and read. And if I got to something I didn't understand, I would just ask the Holy Spirit, what does this mean? And why did you do this? And why did you tell this person after you healed them to go forth and tell no one? He said, because people will talk you out of your healing. Child, that wrecked me. I laid on the floor for an hour crying over that. People will talk you out of your healing. I know someone that believed just like that they were healed and now they're dead. You know what I mean? So I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I want to. We're literally going to church, y'all. Here we go. Ready? I want to lay hands. It's like God said not to just pray for people, but to lay hands on people. So if I can physically touch someone and pray for them, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I can call their wellness forth. When you were dripping your illness, and you stood before Jesus, he called forth your wellness.
Yeah.
He didn't see all the things. Like, get up and take your mat and go. Do you believe you're healed? Do you believe I can do it? Great. That's all you need is this faith. That blows my mind. Yeah. And we're supposed to do all those things and more. That's why I have Corinthians tattooed on my arms. These three things remain: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest is love. And that is literally there to remind me, Shane, you better love well. Shane, you better love well. Shane, you better love well. It's on my arm. And I believe it.
Wow.
It's fun to believe it. And it's not, I used to say, God, I wish I was raised an atheist, because then I wouldn't have to unlearn all the f***ed up stuff everybody told me. Sorry, probably shouldn't say the F word talking about Jesus, but there's not a cuss word he hasn't heard.
Okay.
It's true.
So
this is true.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have to unlearn all these ungodly beliefs that I had for so long.
Yeah.
Or holding on to things the way you did, which just is a trauma in itself.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where we are. That's my thank you. So thank you.
Wow.
For saying that impacts you, because I didn't think that I would ever get to that place where someone would be like, man, when you leave, I feel so filled up, or I want to go deeper like that. is amazing for a little Southern gay kid from nowhere.
I love that.
Not me. Not my spiritual life being inspired by a gay kid.
Yeah.
You know what, Mr. Gay Man, you inspire me to be a better Christian.
Thank you. How about that? Tongue popping for Jesus.
Love it.
Okay, so you want to know my attitude?
What is your attitude? What's the thing that's grinding your gears lately?
Well, it was going to be something else because we could go down the election trail all day long, but everyone's talking about that, and we're not doing that. My attitude right now this morning when I woke up was that holding on to the belief that I wasn't good enough for a really long time and for too long, and it all came to a what's the word? Explosion yesterday. We hit the pinnacle
just yesterday. Okay.
And it just made me reflect because I was like, I believed for so long that when you grow up where I grew up, and I was raised on a shrimp boat in North Carolina. My dad was a shrimper, and, bipolar, schizophrenic.
Wow.
And the things that were said about me and to me, and I didn't want to be there, right? I wanted out. And I had a dream, and I wanted to sing, and I wanted to write songs. My dream wasn't ever to write songs for other people. And, I've had even friends speak this over me. Shane, you're always just the almost. Like you get a record deal, and then it goes away, and then you get another record deal, and then it goes away. And then, like, I got a record deal, moved to New York City, and like right before 9/11 in 2001. Wow. And then it went away.
Of course,
and then I went back to being a hairdresser. And then if it wasn't for Mary Louise Parker, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair with you. But I've told that story, and it's a whole other thing, and she changed my entire life. But I ended up getting another publishing deal in 2006, and then I got offered another record deal, and they threw me this massive party, flew my mom in to New York City, bottles of Dom, vintage bottles of Dom.
Wow.
Flew my best friends in, go to the label with my mom the next day to finish our negotiations, and the president looks at me and says, well, I got fired, and the label's for sale. So you could do this, and maybe you'll make your record and it'll come out. Or Shane, you're such an amazing songwriter. Go write hit songs for other people, and then revisit or whatever.
Wow.
And I was so crushed.
Good.
But also going, wow, God, I guess this really isn't for me. And this is pre-encounter with Jesus.
Okay.
Like few years. And so I was
What was your faith like before your encounter?
I believed in God, but I think I really honestly believed that it was conditional love. Okay. Completely. Like, if I do this, God is going to stay far away from me. It wasn't as inward. It was like God was this thing outside of me, not this thing inside of me. Yeah. I believed in God because I was brought up in church, but the way people behave was the polar opposite of Jesus. So that was always very, very, very confusing. And I didn't want to be a part of something that didn't want to be a part of me. Yeah. So that was hard.
Also, they spoiled you with vintage Dom and flying all your people in because they was about to go broke. So they're like, let's just spend all this money anyway.
Let's get him a banner. Congratulations, Shane Stevens. You're about to kill it. And it went away. And so what's funny is I was in New York. I refocused and said, okay, I'm going to go write hit songs. And I was manifesting way before anybody was talking about manifestation, especially since COVID. Everybody's like, manifest. I just believed in my mind and felt in my body if there was something I wanted to do and I could see it and feel it now, it would happen. And everything has that I wanted to do. But this one elusive thing about being an actual artist. And so I had this thing. It's like, they're right. I'm the almost. I always almost get there. And so and it's a very close mutual friend of ours that told me that. But I decided, okay, I'm going to go be a hit songwriter. And then it just happened. And Sarah Evans recorded one of my songs, and I used to put her hair extensions in. I did her hair extensions for the Born to Fly video.
First of all, let's pause on that for a second. Okay, fine. It wasn't fine. I'll just go be a songwriter. Fine, I'll go be a hit songwriter.
Yeah. It was, but I believe that. I'm like, I'm not gonna, honey, I'm not gonna. If
Fine.
I'm
I'll
gonna
go platinum
I'm gonna
multiple
go.
times.
I'm gonna go all the way. We're going all the way. I'm not setting out to write a number 58.
No.
You know.
Okay, let's do it.
Plenty.
Yeah,
But
sure. Well, he got them number ones. Okay.
Yes, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Back to you did her hair.
So I did her hair, and then she ended up being the one that recorded a song of mine that they used in the Billy Graham biopic.
Wow.
And they shot a video, and it was a single. And I showed up at the actual studio when she was recording. She's like, "What are you doing here?" It's like, "Oh." She's like, "Am I getting my hair done today? I haven't seen you in years." I'm like, "Oh, I wrote this song." She's like, "Wait, you're a songwriter?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've always been a songwriter. I just didn't tell anybody when I worked in the salon because all of our clients in Nashville at the time were country superstars."
So you didn't want to be like, oh,
and by the
have
way,
you heard my music?
right? Yeah, so I
like
did.
Danielle's Uber driver the other day.
Oh, if I'm in an Uber here,
Yeah.
I'm a school teacher or a therapist.
Right.
We're not. We don't even say therapist anymore
No.
either.
Uh-uh.
But I am a teacher in ways.
Yeah.
I'm not really one. But anyway, so I did it, and I started getting songs recorded and cut, and then Lady Antebellum happened with American Honey, and then a lot of things started to roll forward, and then it was American Idol was popping off, and then all those kids were singing my songs, and then I started going to LA. So anyway, I just put it in the back of my mind. Well, this is working. Maybe this is really what I was.
This is what I was supposed to do.
I was supposed to do this. And a few years ago, I was at the Ryman watching a band that I love that had recorded my song. It took 8 years for this song to get cut.
Wow.
And it was about my granny, my daddy's mom, who lived with us when I was a kid. She was my favorite. I prayed her into heaven. She was on her deathbed in the hospital, and I didn't have the money to go. And so I prayed for her until she transitioned. And this song is very personal, and it was personal between me and my co-writers, Hillary Lindsay and Carrie Barlow. And it's called Beat Up Bible. And Little Big Town had recorded it, and I loved it. I loved it so much. Well, I went to the Ryman to see them do this concert, and they got on stage, and all of a sudden I heard the intro, like halfway through the show, and I got up, and because I was literally, they sat me behind a pole, the one pole.
I know which pole
under
you're
the back of
talking
the-
about.
I'm like, I can't even see, so I got up, and there was a area behind one of those church pews in the front, and I was like, and there was no one sitting there, so I thought, well, I can just go get on my knees because I want to watch them sing this. And I go over, and the usher was like, "You can't sit here.
They'd be
And,
on top of it over there.
and you can't film this." And I was like, I wrote this song, and this song is about my granny, and please. And she's like, "Oh, honey, okay, yes,
Aw,
okay, yes." And I was
bless
like,
her.
I was like, "Thank you, favor." But as I watched them sing it, and I started crying, it turned from I'm so proud, I'm so happy, and wow, this is amazing. Look, I've seen a lot of people sing my songs.
Sure.
But then it turned into, why are they singing about my granny? And why can't that be me? Why isn't that me? And it wrecked me. It fully wrecked me. It was like a very personal song. I've tried to sing it live a few times, and I always cry because I get to this part where it's like, it says, I was holding her hand when she was on her way home. She said, "Baby, don't cry. I'm going to see the one who rolled away the stone." And my granny taught me how to pray. My granny taught me the Lord's Prayer, and it just hurt. And I came up in a time in Nashville where, especially these kids nowadays that get to be gay and be out and be pop stars and country stars, that wasn't happening. They wouldn't let me write with the good old boys. They weren't going to let me sing country music. It was a whole thing. And that's why I was saying my attitude is I held on to, I rented a lie because the devil is a damn liar. That this wasn't for me.
Wow.
That I couldn't do this. That I was too old, too gay, too gray, too fat, too this, too that. It was everything possible that I could self-sabotage myself with to keep me from getting to my dream. And even as recent as 2 years ago, a year ago, I was talking, I don't want that life. I don't want to be on the road when I don't want people to really know me and blah, 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 blah. It's like the enemy, you don't want that. You need to stay being a songwriter. Look, you're making money. You've got 2 houses. You're happy. You've got a husband, blah, 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 blah. Why would you put yourself out there like that? And I'm like, but I have all these songs that I love that are sitting on Song Mountain on my laptop, and no one's ever going to hear them. And so I was like, you know what, God, if it's even just for one person, and I put out a song and somebody hears it and it saves their life or makes them think about something different or makes them have an encounter with you, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's my attitude, holding
Wow.
on to the ungodly belief that I'm not enough and that I can't. And I'm
Wow.
not good enough and that I'm the background singer.
Ooh.
Because I've been that
Yeah.
on records, on stage.
Yeah.
That I can't stand in the circle at the Opry because they don't welcome my kind.
Oof.
So, but that's changed because yesterday
Yeah.
I got offered a record deal
Come on.
for me.
Oh,
Shane.
And I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm putting out this duet with Sarah Evans soon
Come on.
called I Can't Quit. And it's such full circle. It's just really nice, like validation. I mean, I've watched people become massive stars and millionaires that have worked the closest friends, and then they forget about you and kind of just move on. And it's like, you're there because I was in the room with you.
Yeah.
And this talent and the songs that come from my garden in heaven. You sing. And then you sing them just like me. Like, that's not cocky. That's just like when people say it to you all the time, you're like, well, why not you? Where's your version?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
Well, they don't want me for that. But somebody does.
Yeah.
And somebody else will
Amen.
spend their money for
Look
change.
at that. Yeah, yeah.
So that
at
was
that.
why it all changed yesterday. I was literally in the
Oh my
car on the way to the
gosh.
airport with my best friend, Karen,
Uh.
and got the phone call. And I thought we were just going to put out this single with Sarah, and that the label was just going to promote that song.
Because she's on it.
Yeah, and then it turned into they had heard a couple other songs. Well, what do you want to do? And we had like an hour-long Zoom the other day, and I was like, well, if George Michael made a country pop record, that's what I want to do. Yeah. They're like, yeah, fully get that. And I told this story last night to a friend of mine that came over to squeal and jump up and down with me. I mentored her since she was 12 years old, and she's 25 now. And she came over because she was so excited she couldn't handle it. And so I was telling them, you know me and my dreams and my visions and stuff. I swear I'm not crazy, y'all. This stuff really happens, and I have the receipts. I'll make this quick. But I dreamed 2 years ago, I went to London for the Ivor Novello Awards, which are like the Golden Globe Awards for songwriters, because they really celebrate songwriters there.
Okay.
And I'm on the board of Sono, which is called Songwriters in North America, and we advocate for royalty rights and things like that, right? So I went to go to a bunch of meetings and go to this award show, and Sting was there.
Okay.
In all of his stingness. Singing, looking handsome, and 100, beyond. So anyway, 6 weeks before I went, I was at our house at the beach, and I fell asleep on the couch, and I had this really short dream, but it was so vivid. I was like, oh, I got to write it down, because you know me, I journal every morning. And in my dream, I went into this lounge, into this bar, and there was a bunch of bar top tables, you know, those little round bar top tables, high top tables, and George Michael was standing at a table, and he smiled at me, and he waved me over. He's like, come over, come over, come over. And I did, and he sat his drink down, and he walked around, and he threw his arms around me, and he whispered in my right ear, I approve. And I woke up and wrote it all down. And I was
I
like,
just got goosebumps.
okay, right? Oh my God, yes. So I told Eric, he's like, wow, babe, that's amazing. And there's always been a George Michael connection for me because of my fourth grade teacher who played me his song, and it changed my whole life. She's like, you can be this. You can be just
Come
like
on,
him.
fourth grade
You
teacher.
can sing. Her name's Wendy Milligan. She came to one of my shows last week. I talk about her all the time.
Wendy.
Miss Wendy. She's amazing. She's gorgeous. She's like Dolly. So 6 weeks later, I'm in London. And looking cute, got my little Gucci shoes on, got my little ring, got my little plaid pants. I'm doing my whole thing. I show up to have a meeting at Apple Music, and I'm meeting this lady, Elena, and she's the head of all of Apple Music. So I walk in with a couple people. We go to the cafeteria. They're showing us around, and this building is where there was a huge album. It was called Animal. We don't need no. Who's that? That sings it.
I don't know.
Name blank. 1970s. Anyway, it's full of glass. Like
Okay.
there's skylights and tons of windows. So it's really bright. And I'm super jet lagged. And when it's silvery gray outside, if I don't have something on my eyes, I get migraines. And I'm jet lagged.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm going to wear these, my cute little Tom Ford glasses that I'm obsessed with. I have 3 pairs of them.
Okay.
I've got them on. And my hair is a little pompadour looking. Feels super cute.
So cute.
Go get a chocolate chip cookie and a Diet Coke because we got to balance it out a little bit. And all these people are staring. And I think they're staring at her because she's the boss.
Uh-huh.
So we're walking around. They keep kind of staring or walking over a little bit and staring. So then we go up the elevator and it's all glass. And we get into her office. And it's me, her, my friend Michelle Lewis from Sona, and this other guy that works for them. And people kind of keep coming into the office. They're like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm like, nice to meet you. And then we have our meeting. We leave. We're talking about what we're wearing to the Ivors, and she's wearing this pink vintage Dior, and I'm so excited. Can't wait to see it. We now go and we're waiting in the lobby for the elevator. And again, people looking like I'm somebody. No, not somebody. So I leave. The next day, I show up to the Ivors. Elena is in the pink. I go over. I'm like, this is gorgeous. Oh, my gosh. She's like, darling, the most crazy, hilarious thing happened yesterday when you left. Insert terrible British accent. I said, what? And she said, I had countless employees come into my office and say, who is that man that was here yesterday that looks like George Michael? But she said, but then the most incredible thing that they said was, he also feels like George Michael. Who is the man that looks and feels
Shane.
like George Michael?
Oh.
So, girl,
my
I
goodness.
stand there. Me, nothing to say. Can you imagine me speechless? Miss Mary Hella Cab? No. I was like, wait, what? I don't look like George Michael. But I was like, wait, what? And she said, and she goes, and I said to them, well, darling, it's definitely not George Michael because he's been dead for years and that would be incredibly smelly. And thank God she did because I laughed and I was on the brink of tears. I said to her, I don't know if you even understand what you've just said to me. And when we're together and not in an award show with Sting and Trudy walking over to you right now, oh my God, I'm going to have a meltdown in front of Sting. Can't happen. I've already embarrassed myself in front of Cher once. So I was like, I'm gonna go, and we will talk about this later. So I walk off and go sit at the table. Sting walks over. I go sit down. Ray gets up and sings. She's amazing. Sting gets up and sings, Message in a Bottle. I'm about to melt into the floor. It was incredible. Next day, I leave and get on the airplane. And I sit in my little first class seat that I'm so grateful to be in. And it was a pod, girl. It was Delta. It was Delta One. Give that pod life. Delta One pod life. I don't got anybody. I don't drink alcohol, so I'm like, well, this is fun. Yeah. But we take off, and I'm looking at the skyline flying over London, and start weeping because I am super emotional, as we know. And I'm like, God, I'm so grateful. So grateful for this life. I'm so grateful that I write songs. I'm so grateful that I get to encourage other songwriters and artists. And thank you for this. Look at me in this seat. Thank you, God. What a blessing. What an honor that you even care about this. And so, weepy. And I'm like, God, where's the person for my people that love you, that can tell the world about you and how much you love us where we are? And then the Holy Spirit said, it's you. And the weight of that. I said, how? I'm old. Like, why is anybody going to care? Will they believe me? My life is so extraordinary. Anjelah, the miracles that happen around me are so insane. And I'm going to get my shit together. Hold on. The flight attendant starts walking over. This cute little gay guy. And he's like, honey, do you need a cocktail? And I was like, don't drink. Ernie's like, you want a cookie? I'm like, yes, don't threaten me with a good time. 2 and a coffee,
2.
please. And I was like, I was just thinking about this, and I took out my journal. And he starts to come over with the cookie. And I tap the screen because I'm like, well, let me just find a movie. And it's George Michael on the screen. And then this flight attendant's like, if we had a phone, we could call a therapist. Like, what is happening? I'm like, this is way too much. I do not know you. And you don't want to know me like this. But I'm just having a moment. But it was the George Michael documentary when I touched the screen.
Wow.
So it's just God with me. It's always confirmation, usually in threes like that. So anyway, that's that story. And
Shane.
I'm fully doing the damn thing.
Wow.
Shane. Okay, first of all, everybody listening and watching, you see what I say when I talk about he encourages me in my faith? I'm like, yep, where's my journal? Gotta go pull it out. Yep, where I gotta start. What am I doing? What all of that. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
You got a record deal.
I sure did.
Awesome.
How old are you?
46.
46 years old.
Ooh.
And I'm going to mix the genre and do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
Do Shane.
I'm going to do Shane.
My gosh. Congratulations, friend.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
This is so
when
special.
I leave here today, I have the lawyer phone calls and all that.
Oh,
so.
all that
real.
good
the
stuff.
Yeah.
It's real.
And then I go the MLC tonight, going to the Hall of Fame for the 6
Tell
times.
them what you're doing.
6 times platinum, fancy like.
6
Ooh.
times platinum.
Yep.
Shane wrote a song that I want to say 98% of you have heard it. I'm just giving you the 2%.
Absolutely.
It's
you
the
know what I
Applebee's
mean?
song that nobody could get away from. Sorry about it. But
Can you give us a little? Can you give us a little? What?
Applebee's on a day night. Got the bourbon street steak and the Oreo shake and some whipped cream on the top too. 2 straws, 1 check, girl, I got you. Bougie like Natty in the styrofoam. Squeaking in the truck bed all the way home. Some Alabama jam and she my Dixieland delight. Hey, that's how we do. Fancy like.
Yay!
That was a prophetic word too. Pastor Dan prophesied over me a decade before I wrote that song, Shane. And I record all my prophetic words and write them down. And he said, Shane. So I have to tell you something. Turn on your recorder. Sitting at lunch in Sewell, New Jersey, in a little cafe. So you're going to write this song that is going to bring hope to the dance floor, and it's going to bring generations of people together to dance in a time when the world needs it. And we were in a global pandemic. It's the first song I wrote in person after being out of lockdown. Not fully out of lockdown, but out of lockdown because Nashville was lockdown light. It was the diet caffeine-free Coke version.
Stop.
Yes. And that song happened, and the day it happened, I knew it was going to change our lives, so much so that I stood up and told the person I had never met. Today our lives changed. God showed up, and he's going to show off. Be ready. Went home and told Eric, I just wrote a song today with Walker, and it's going to change our entire lives. And it fully did. And I emailed everybody on the team. Yes, you did. Told everybody.
Yes, you did. You better get them receipts. Get them receipts.
And then when it happened, everybody was like, oh my God, Shane told us this was going to happen. It was I knew that I knew that I knew. Because it came out. It dropped out of heaven. It came right out of my garden. Yeah. And, all that time, that whole decade, I thought about that word. I'm like, why is this the one word that hasn't happened? And it's all about timing, just like getting this record deal. It's all about timing. It's God's timing. It's not your timing. Like I say all the time, I was created by the Creator to create. The rest is up to God. It is. I can't force it because what's the point? Like, I want what you have that is perfect for me.
Yeah.
Not what's perfect for somebody else.
Yeah.
What's perfect for me. Like, what am I going to feel like? He's like, you're going to be taking care of your health. You're going to be exercising. You're going to be taking care of your mind and your spirit and your soul and be able to talk in a competent way about your belief system. And then I'm going to put you in front of everybody.
Wow.
And now I will say it all, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize for my faith.
Wow.
So, yeah, it happened. And I thought, because I was working with Beyonce at the time, so I thought, oh, I'm gonna write the new single, ladies, y'all.
Right.
Turns out it was bigger than that for
Yeah.
country music in terms of sales and stuff.
Sure.
So it's just doing this
Wow.
today and then getting to go do that. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
amazing.
Wow. What? I mean,
You can't make this shit up, yo.
no, you
I need to stop hitting this
cannot.
microphone. I am so sorry,
And
y'all.
but that's why I love, I mean, all your story. You have so many. I want to get into more of your like miracle stories that you have that are so just wild and all of that. But
And real.
And real.
And available for everybody.
Okay, speak on that for a second. Let's talk about that. Like,
I think we stand in the way
okay.
of even healing. It's like I don't like the fake it till you make it saying that everybody's spoke over us for so long. I always say no. I faith it till I make it.
Oh,
And if I pray for it once, I'm
bumper sticker incoming. Hey, merch.
Hashtag faith
He
it
just
till
got
you
a record
make
deal
it.
and he already has merch.
Hashtag Shane on you.
Hashtag Shane on you.
Yes, I'll have you on that podcast because watch that happen.
Okay.
Because we just spoke it.
Yeah.
Barely. But yeah, faith it till you make it. I don't pray over and over for things. I fully believe that if I go before God with my prayer, my conversation, and I say, God, I really want to do this, or this is what my dream is, and if you really want me to have my heart's desire, then that's what's going to happen. If we have to partner with it and believe it, not I don't pray wishing, I don't pray hoping. I pray faithfully believing that if I'm speaking this word, that's your word over my life, and agreeing with it, you're going to do it. You know, and I fully believe that for healing for people. And if I'm praying for someone, I'm not going to walk in the room if you were sick and look at you like you're sick. That is not helping you get well. I can't look bad enough and sad enough for you to get well. Like, you're not going to, if I'm having a full-on breakdown, it's going to make you feel worse. It's going to make you, first of all, feel shame. It's going to, it's maybe the why me thing that you might feel, or the, oh my gosh, maybe I really am dying. Maybe they're not telling me this. Like, no, I'm going to speak life over you.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. And also, I feel like it approaches the line that I don't approve of. I'll explain it to you right now. It approaches the place of pretending you don't have something for the sake of manifesting your healing.
Yeah, totally.
Like if somebody is like, you know, like I have cancer or whatever, and then somebody tells them, don't say that over your life, don't speak it.
Right.
Like, then I'm like, no, that's not true.
No. That's why we have doctors.
Yeah. No, I have it.
Uh-huh.
And I can have faith.
Believing for healing.
But you can't get rid of something that you're pretending you don't have.
Ignore, exactly.
You can't pray that God would heal something that you don't have.
Right.
Like, there's acknowledgement of there's something going on, but then you can still operate
and be proactive about it. It's like
in
faith without works is dead.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that part in the scripture?
Yeah.
So, and it's also, you know, you hear those stories about that joke that's like, I wanted this, and God's gonna. The man's drowning. There's like there's a flood, and he's in his living room, you know, and the flood
sends a
waters up
boat.
to his knees. God sends a boat.
Yeah.
God sends another person to. Sends a
Yeah.
car. Sends a boat. Sends a helicopter. No, I got it. God's gonna rescue me. God's gonna rescue me.
Yeah.
And then he dies, and then he's like, God, why didn't you rescue me? He said, I sent a car. I sent a boat. I sent a helicopter.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Help me help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Wait, I have a question.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because you were saying that you don't pray for things over and over, like you pray for it once and then you.
I don't pray.
Is
for
that what you
things
were
over and
saying?
over. No.
What? Okay, so then my question is, what do you then say to someone who has been praying for something over and over again and it still isn't getting any clear answer? Or
I would say, are you making it your business to have relationship, so much so with the Creator, where you are are quiet enough to get still and just listen. Because I feel like if we're constantly praying, if we're constantly putting out, God heard you the first time. If you're still praying and then you don't just sit in the stillness, it's like the word says, and what the Lord shared with me is, be still and know that I'm God. Be still and listen. Feel the vibration of what I am saying to you. Because first of all, we say really terrible things about ourselves.
Yes.
And that's our inner saboteur for sure.
Yeah.
I don't say the things about myself that God says about me. You are so talented. You are so cute. You're such a good person. I love you so much. Like,
oh my God, I say all those things about
we
you.
pick ourselves. I know, thank you. Your own personal Anjelah Jesus. Right. So, but I had the hairdresser's disease because I stood in a mirror all day long doing movie stars who not only pick themselves apart, but I started to pick myself apart.
Yeah.
I got to a place in my life when I lived in New York City that I would not even chew gum because I was scared it was going to make me fat.
Oh, Shanathan.
And I did end up having a good 5 years of being fat because I was so obsessed with one way and then I went obsessed the other way.
Yeah.
But I think it's all about relationship, and I think it's about a personal relationship with the Lord. And if I pray for you, I'm praying, believing, period. And I would just say to that person, be still, get quiet, ask the Lord for what you want. If it's healing, if it's something in your life financially, if it's whatever it is, whatever your need is, and let God do it. Have conversation. Because I think, like I was saying earlier, so many of us think that God is this thing that's outside of us. And it's such an inner being thing. And God, if you'll just do this. And I also think we just things to death. God, if you'll just get me my rent this month. God, if you'll just let me pay for this car. God, if you'll just get rid of this mole. God, if you'll just heal me of this cancer, I swear I won't. No. We need to ask for above and beyond miraculous miracle things and really believe it. And really, really, really believe it. And I'm saying that this morning because the Lord loves to remind me of Exodus. I can't believe it. We are fully going to church. You ready? So I'm about to go with some Old Testament stuff on y'all. And that's when Moses parted the Red Sea and walked them out, set the captives free. And they get over to Mara, is what it was called, M-A-R-A-H. And they get there and they're thirsty in the desert and they're several days without water. And the water is so bitter that they find they can't drink it. And they're like, "Why did you bring us here? We had pots of meat and water and fresh things." They were slaves, but they were fed. Why did you brought us here to die? And Moses and Aaron are like, "Did y'all not just see the water part and all your enemies drown and all did y'all not just see the miracle that just happened 3 days ago? And now you're already bitching and complaining and moaning about God's not going to feed you or give you water?" So then the Lord gives them fresh water. Like he uses a stick, touch the water, it's fresh drinking water. They travel on. Then they're starved. Oh, we're going to starve to death. So God just starts raining manna down from heaven and gives them this knowledge that only take what you need and eat it, and then I'll provide this. But instead, they didn't believe God again and kept more than they needed, and they woke up and it was covered in maggots. It says that in the word. It's like not trusting that God will do it. You just saw the miracle. Do you know how many times I've done that? I'm like, my friend I watched get miraculously healed or get pregnant and said they couldn't. Like all these things. And then they just forget about it. The miracle that just happened. There's been so many miracles in my life. And then I'm bitching and moaning.
Won't it be like that though?
And,
we just saw a miracle happen. Then we'd be like, but God, can you do it?
Right? And asking for things that are too small.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want you to live a beautiful life and an abundant life. I am blessed to be a blessing. I tithe my money. I tithe my time. I tithe my talent. And I fully understand that that's how this works. You give, not just to get. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But God blesses you. Like, I love to bless people. I love it. It's like my favorite thing. It's like Christmas every day.
Yeah.
You know? I want to walk in somebody's house and be like, oh, we can rearrange this furniture. That's my blessing for you today. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, anyway, so I don't even know if I answered your question other than what I would say to someone. It's just don't give up. When you pray, sit and listen. Don't get busy. God, you just do this, and then I promise I'll. No, it's not like you're not gambling. You're not borrowing. Like you want the fullness of what God has for you.
Yeah.
But you got to get quiet.
Yeah.
And still for God to speak. You know? Like the people that stay in nonstop worship and don't hear anything from the Holy Spirit. Yeah. So does that help you, darling? I don't know. I don't know all the answers. That's just how I speak for me.
Yeah. No, it was just I've never heard anybody
someone
say
say
that.
They don't pray over and over and over for the same thing.
Yeah, because it's like I feel like there's that mentality of like, well, don't give up, you know, or
pray without ceasing.
Right.
Pray without ceasing, and obviously, spoiler alert, I'm talking about myself. Okay,
oh,
right?
Okay.
Like that's who I'm talking about, and it's like I'm really enjoying everything that you're saying and like really taking it to heart, but it's like it's hard. Like I'm hearing that and I'm like, that sounds so amazing. Like I'm like, I wish I could do that, and I'm gonna try to do that. And but sometimes it's hard. It's hard, like you were saying with like the prayers of just like I've totally done that before. Like I've totally gotten caught in that mindset of like, well, I don't need much if I could just have this little thing. Like I'm not asking for a lot.
You got to remember this. We are on a planet floating out here in the middle of this universe that floats in perfect proximity to other planets. We're not spinning out of orbit. We're not like God is holding all this together. I always say there are days where I've been in Central Park and I'm like, wow, the grass is growing through the concrete. Even the grass has found a way. Even the grass. How important must I be? How important must I be? God is holding all of this together. So whatever dream I have, whether it's for healing or financial blessing, whatever it is, that's important to the Creator. And He's holding all of creation together. All these miracles that happen breathing is a miracle. The fact that I sit down in a room and a song just goes, and there it is.
Yeah.
Is a miracle. The fact that the Christian artists let me in songs now, let me in writing rooms now to write songs for them and with them. From where I come from in this business is a really big deal. You know what I mean? And they might stop now. But if they do, that's okay. I'm not trying to save the Christians anyway. I'm not trying to save anybody. I'm just trying to tell people to love each other.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Just be love.
Yeah.
Just be the light. Just love yourself.
That's good.
So you can love other people well. And you're going to screw up. And you're going to get it wrong. And you're going to say things you wish you didn't say. And people are either going to forgive you or they're not. And if they don't, move on. It is not your business what somebody else thinks about you. Period.com. It is not. Like, I can't worry about that. I'm like, what does my God think about what I'm doing? Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to impress anybody, and I'm not trying to impress the Creator of the universe. All these people out here in these churches and in these streets trying to look all fly and fabulous and doing their charity in front of the world and telling them all about it. Like, you think you can impress God? How arrogant is that?
Yeah.
You're trying to work your way into being more fabulous and look at me and what I can do for you. It's like, no. Just love people well. Yeah. And if they need help, help them. And you don't got to go tell everybody about it. Yeah. Just do it because it's your heart, unless it's not. Unless you need the prayer. Unless you need the praise. Yeah. And we've all done that where we're like, I gave this person that and then she didn't even text me. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're like, damn. You ungrateful? No, they're going through some hard stuff, like some really hard stuff. I remember I got held up at gunpoint this one time. The day after 9/11 in Nashville, right before I moved to New York City.
Sir, this is a tough time we are all going through as a country. Why are you holding people up?
Right. So I got held up at gunpoint, and I don't know why I'm telling you this right now. What did I say before that?
Oh, well, I just got lost too. I don't know. Hold on.
Oh, just you were talking about loving people the right way and having your heart be in the right place of helping
Oh,
others.
that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Praise.
Thank you,
So,
Danielle.
got held up at gunpoint, and then for the longest time after being robbed and fearful for my life, I would get so scared of people that would walk up to me in a parking lot or a homeless person on the side of the road, and I wouldn't roll down my window and give.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you see how many people are out here in these streets without their minds or starving?
Yeah.
And how that could be any of us?
Yeah.
But the devil fully wanted my generosity to go away, so he had a man stick a gun in my stomach and for me to be afraid of strangers on the street. And I was that way for a really long time. And then God really got me with that one. He's like, no. Get out of agreement with that. That's never happening to you again. Give. Don't be afraid. Love and it's never happened again. And if I've got it in my car, I'm giving it.
Yeah.
I don't need.
Also, that was a traumatic event that you had to work through and have your process of like getting to a safe space. Like,
years,
okay, I
girl.
feel comfortable now.
It took years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was held up at gunpoint myself.
You were?
Oh yeah.
Where?
I do a whole joke about it in my first hour special. I talk about getting held up at gunpoint at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, when was this?
At Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. This was early 2000s.
Holy moly.
Maybe I want to say like 2006, maybe.
So you didn't take that as you weren't supposed to be eating fried chicken anymore.
No.
Okay.
No.
You said, I'm gonna get my chicken and waffles.
The guys who held us up came in with hoodies on, right?
God.
It was 3 of them. And I remember like a couple days after that, I was at some deli waiting in line to order a sandwich. And this guy walked in wearing a hoodie with his hood up, and immediately my heart dropped. I froze, and I was like, "Oh
it's
no,
going down.
Oh no, oh!" And I had to work through that for a long time.
Of course.
And anytime something like that would happen, and then ever since then, I don't sit with my back towards a door at all. I always sit with my back with my front facing the door. I need to see who's walking in and out at all times. Like I situate myself like that at restaurants, and that's how I feel safe and comfortable and whatever.
That's
but I'm saying it's a traumatic
what
thing.
You don't want to know what you do want thing, right? Yeah. Like I learned from that.
I wasn't held up by gunpoint, but a knife. So look at us trauma bonding.
Can we talk about how personal? Can we talk about how personal a knife is and how close you have to be to a person? That's even scarier to me.
It touched my neck.
Front door.
But tell him what you said. But tell him what you did.
I don't know if it was the Lord or my Southern upbringing that took over in that moment.
Or possibly a couple of drinks that night. But go ahead.
That's okay.
Possibly. It was Halloween night in West Hollywood. Oops. And this man came up to me and he held a knife to my throat. And my friend was incapacitated next to me. So I think I was like in protective mama mode as well. And I just stared at him in the eye and said, "Put that away.
Stop it."
And I don't know who was more shocked, me or him. But then we just stared at each other.
That? Oh, that was me.
And then he just put it away.
Wow.
And I just stared him down, and then he walked away. And then I immediately turned to my friend and I was like, "Get up. We have to leave. We have to go right now."
Oh my gosh. You know, they always say to act crazy or start foaming at the mouth or something like that, like do something crazy. But wow.
Start mooing.
You just the power. Holy moly, not mooing.
Yeah. Put that away. And we were both startled by my reaction.
I mean, you're more likely to get like dusted with glitter by a drag queen in West Hollywood than you are to get held up.
No, I think it was
lately,
bold.
Was that recent?
Was that recent? That was probably like 2015, 2016.
Well. Yeah, I got my wallet stolen one night in WeHo. I mean, I lived there for such a long time.
Oh yeah, last year they had a string of like iPhone robberies. Like everyone was stealing iPhones. Yeah.
Not my iPhone. How am I going to ignore people I want to talk to?
Shane.
Yes.
One more gratitude I want to throw in on your behalf, and I want to talk about is your new single.
Oh.
Can we talk about it for a second?
Yes.
This and fun fact.
Fun fact.
I just had Mariah on.
And I I wrote it with her.
Yes, I just had Mariah on my previous episode, and
Mariah Smallbone, everybody, not Carrie, but we're hoping.
Yeah, well, just
we love Mariah.
yeah. She was telling me the story off. We didn't talk about it on the podcast, but afterwards, she was telling me about
how it happened.
Can you share a little bit about that?
So for everybody who doesn't know, Mariah Smallbone is a friend of ours, and she is married to Joel from
For King and Country.
Country is huge Christian / crossover band.
She just goes by Mariah.
Right. And we met in person here at your house for the first time.
Yeah.
When you were still very pregnant, praying for your belly and little Rosie.
And we prayed for the home.
Prayed for the house.
Yeah.
We walked around and blessed the house. It was so amazing. And then she and I realized we had friends in common, and she asked me if we could write a song for her project. So I was like, I would love to.
Yeah.
And then we ended up writing with Paul Mabry, and we were writing for her project. So we wrote this beautiful song. And at the end of it, we just started having a conversation about the political side of things a little bit and feeling kind of like misfits in the church. And, I go to church on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was just about how I felt like there are certain groups of people that call themselves Christians that are hijacking my Jesus and painting him to be this thing that he's not, and that he's only for certain people. And I'm like, no, but he's for everybody. And she said, we have to write that song right now. Can we write that song right now? And I was like, do I want to go this deep right now? And she goes, and we have to write it for you. You have to sing it. You have to be the artist.
Yeah.
Yet again, God sent the helicopter.
Yeah.
Mariah was my helicopter, and Paul was so willing to go there, and he'd done all these huge records for Lauren Daigle and all these people, and it's such an honor to be in that room. And we stayed. Most artists are ready to go. You write them the song with them usually, and then they got 55 children to go pick up or whatever they're going to do. Because in Franklin, everybody got all them kids.
Yeah.
But fortunately, she wanted to stay, and she just was really inspired by that idea. And so we wrote Don't Hijack My Jesus, and now it's out in the world. And look, the day I recorded, the day we wrote that song, it was very slow and sad in the way that it felt like this lovely lullaby in a way. And then that was last July, not this July, but last July. And when I decided I'm going to go for it, I'm like, if I'm going to put out a song, it's going to be something that says something. And God, please send me the team. Who's the team going to be? Whatever. And so I get in the studio with Ted T, who also I met last year, right before Mariah. And I was writing with him and this artist, Ryan Ellis. And in that session, Ryan was in the restroom, and he turned around at me and also said, do you like George Michael?
Stop. Get out of here.
I want to make a record with you. Man just met me 3 hours before. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But after I wrote the song with Mariah, I had a session with Ted. And I played him this work tape. He's like, oh my God, Shane, you have to do this. And I was like, well, when is the right time? Fast forward a year later. Sarah Evans' son played the guitars on it. I recorded like a scratch vocal. And then when I went back to record it, I was like, okay, so it's in the wrong key. The second verse is too long. We need to speed it up. We need it to be faster. I need it to be like if Muse and me and George Michael had a song baby, and we changed the key, we sped it up. It needs a bridge. I didn't even tell Paul and Mariah that I wrote a bridge until I sent it to him. I was like, hope y'all like this, because I wrote a bridge and I cut half the second verse out. But I got on the microphone, and this is when it really, really hit me how important it was for me to do this now. My friend Abby was there because she wanted to come and listen so she could get inspired to make the artwork for the single, which ends up looking like Wham. She's 25 and knows nothing about that. But anyway, so I get on the microphone and I start to sing, and the Holy Spirit falls, and I am doubled over, and I start weeping. I am wailing, and I'm saying, God, you're so holy. God, you're so holy. God, you're so holy. And they came in and put their hands on me and started and just stood there with me in this space. And the presence was so heavy, and I cried so much I couldn't sing anymore. So I had to go back the next day to sing.
Wow.
But it was like if I'm going to do this, Jesus, then you have to take it out before me.
Wow.
Because this is how I feel about the people that are saying they're for you, and they don't think I'm worthy of your love. They don't think I matter. They think that black and brown people are worthless second class or sometimes third class citizens. They think that gay people are not worthy of your love. They think that anyone who doesn't think like them is not worthy of your love or the goodness that you have. They're not worthy of telling their story. They're not worthy of singing songs. They shouldn't exist. I'm a human being. And they think I shouldn't exist. The argument being so many times, man was created for woman. I get, okay, I'm not ever going to understand everything. I did the whole let's pray the gay away thing. I fasted and prayed, begged. First time I was ever called a faggot was my dad. And he said to my mom, as he was beating her, there is no way that child is mine. I couldn't have created a child. He is not the fruit of my loins. Wow. And then we'd have to go to church while he stood up there and led worship.
Wow.
And love everybody else. And I thought, wow, maybe this isn't for me. God, you're not coming for me. That's what he did. If I do anything in music, write a book, tell a story, whatever I do, it is to be like, you are enough. You are the only you there's ever going to be. God loves you right where you are. It is about your relationship and only your relationship. And whatever that is for you, that's what it is for you. If you want to go deeper, you can go deeper. And God will meet you right where you are. I will not forsake you or leave you behind. I will come to you. And I fully got to experience that and encounter that in ways that I know are so miraculous, in ways that have not happened even to my partner. He was raised Catholic. He's got a lot of like Catholic guilt things, and especially about being gay and things and trauma. He's in, EMDR therapy, and that's been so incredible for him. It's changed him. But he's also like, I wouldn't believe anything like you believe had I not been with you now for 12 years and seen the fruit that you're bearing, that God has blessed our lives with friendships and love in our finances, in our homes, and everything in our life is fruitful. And he goes, and I believe in the God that you believe in because I see it. I see how you love people. I'm like, y'all don't speak any of this crap over me because I got a dream and the Lord's going to make it happen. That's the place I've been in for a really long time now. And I had that one little holdout thing. And finally, I just let it go and said, guess what? If you want me to do this, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And then I'm going to stand on a stage and say, see what God does?
Yeah.
When you faithfully believe he'll do it.
Yeah.
And you just let it go. That's what happens. I believe it and I let it go. I finally did it. Like for that one area that I thought was not going to happen. So I just, you know what, God, if you put this dream in me, you remember it. We talked about it before I came here. We must have. We must have. I've had encounters with the Lord where I've gone into my garden in heaven, and he showed me my songs on a tree that was fruit. It had fruit, music note shaped fruit that dripped words like honey. And the words and phrases come together. And Jesus tell me, well, these are your songs. Where did you think they come from? They're flowing to you and through you all the time. You can't cut yourself off from that. They're already done. Come get them. Bring other people here. Come get them.
Wow.
We get in the way. And that's like, if I'm going to do this, I want to help people know that you're enough. Period. Right where you are. And don't you give up on your dream. How many people do you know that are actresses or other comedians that are like, well, I was going to quit yesterday. And I got the call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't. When you're walking what you're called to do, God is
Uh-huh.
obligated to show up. I fully believe that.
Mm.
I fully believe that.
I love that Eric, that's Shane's boo. Uh,
Not my boo.
I love that he's like, I wouldn't have believed any of these things had I not like seen it in you. And it's like him being able to see it is possible for someone like me.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible that God can love me and accept me just as I am.
Right.
And then it like brings it back to your conversation with God on the airplane. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where's the person for my people to show them like they're enough? God loves you. I know there's been rhetoric and messaging that you're not allowed.
Forever.
You're not a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
You're excluded. You're bad. You're wrong. You're evil. You're not worthy. This messaging from the people who represent God,
Mm-hmm.
like they're the ones that you look to be like, okay, how do I see this? They're the teachers. They're the ones who are like, well, God says this, God. And so it seems like they're the end all be all, even though we all have our own
Belief system.
Mm-hmm. Bible you can go read if you want, or whatever, your own relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, you learn to hear these voices who are in some place of authority.
Mm-hmm.
And then we subconsciously give them authority over our thoughts and
Mm-hmm.
life about ourself, So it's like your partner Eric, he is the representation of what you're going to be able to do for everybody listening to your music and finding you in your messaging. Is like, I didn't know that was possible, but I see that it is in you. I see it, and it is okay for me to believe it. It is okay for me to have a spiritual practice. I know people who love God and are gay, but feel that they're not allowed to even love God.
Right.
So they're
Yep.
like, well, I guess I just
Get right to get to God.
I have to do this first before
Whatever
I can
right
love God.
is for these people. Mm-hmm.
And I love that as your music grows and your career and your platform grows, that there's going to be a whole group of people that are going to be liberated.
I receive that. I really do receive that.
Wow. And be able to experience love. That's pretty powerful. That's incredible, bro.
Right? Right? It is incredible.
Sheesh.
And maybe that's why the whole nervous thing doesn't happen for me on stage. Like, it just, because I fully expect to be standing in front of thousands of people and just being love. I told Eric when we started dating, if you come in my apartment in the West Village, where I always wanted to live, I even told the Lord I wanted, and it happened. Anyway, last 5 years in New York, and I'm in the floor weeping, leave me there. Like, let me just be who I am. Like, I've been in many relationships. I've only been in 3 major relationships, but people that didn't understand my relationship with God, and I tried to push it down or dilute it, or I was like, I'm never going to ask you to believe the way I believe, but I will never let another person get in the way of it. It is about my relationship. I need God when things are great, and I need God when things are bad. I need God when I'm rich. I need God when I'm broke. I just need God. More than I need you, more than I need my mama, more than I need anything in this world. My relationship with my creator is the most important thing. Money and things and all that come and go. You know, I had this season of, I left my publishing deal that I'd been in for like 8 years. Cushy little job, great little paycheck, having hit songs, went through a breakup, did the breakup on television because I was on a reality show over a decade ago. And so glad it happened that way because you know what happened? I was in a relationship with someone who was anywhere nearly equally yoked in their faith. And I saw my face on television and how heartbroken I was. And it is what made me go, oh, I don't like that person.
Oh.
How can this person be talking about love and they serve this God and this thing, and then they're so unhappy in their relationship and this person doesn't even remotely believe what they believe?
Yeah.
Or they make fun of you praying in the morning or praying for, why are you doing that? Like, that's what I was in.
Yeah,
it didn't make no sense. He was fully closeted. We're very great friends. I love him. Great friends. But it wasn't the person for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, just so you know, that's never happening to me again.
Yeah.
But I left this publishing deal and I started to have, I was back in New York full time and not in Nashville as much. I needed to break. And I was trying to decide where I was going to go, what I was going to do, if I was going to be in LA full time or be in New York full time, you know. And I decided just to kind of really take a minute to really think about it. And then I started asking people's opinions. And they are like assholes, and everyone has one, right? So I was like, what do you think I should do?
Yeah.
And then I had a couple friends that are like, oh, you should absolutely take a break, and you should do this. And but wait, why would you leave your publishing deal and your big solid paycheck? Well, because I want to take a chance on myself. But what if you never have another hit? Is that possible? That little seed.
Shoot.
That was planted that day.
Shoot.
Started making me, because those thoughts come and more thoughts like those join. It's just like, I've never had a ticket. What do I get? A ticket. I've never had anything happen financially with like taxes or whatever. I got audited. Like everything that could possibly happen, because love will grow like an orchard. That little seed will grow like that, and so will fear.
Yeah.
And when those questions got in, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I don't have another hit? Well, wait, I better hurry up and make a decision. I better sign another deal really quick. Like, I was putting a limit on what God can do when it was time, for the first time in my life, to fully focus on me and what I wanted to do for me. To be single and just be alone, have my quiet time with the Lord, like make a record. I was going to teach myself how to record my vocals. Ask who has learned how to do that. Nope, not me. Still haven't done it. Bought the whole rig. I was like, oh, this is too confusing. We don't have YouTube
buttons
to tell us what to do. Well, that sounds like crap. I'll just pay somebody.
Yeah.
It was like everything that could come at me from hell came at me. And I stayed in that fearful place, even though people were recording my songs. I was starting over from scratch, owning my own publishing, signing an administration deal, but I had to rebuild a catalog.
Yeah.
You know? And then, no joke, my mother-in-law's 70th birthday, we were in Florida at a beach house with Eric's entire family, which is a miracle. I went from being in a relationship with someone for 6 years and never meeting their parents and owning 2 homes and having a dog to now we're on vacation with your parents.
Wow.
Celebrating her 70th birthday. Wow. No kidding. Holy Spirit woke me up. This is the last time I'm going to talk about this stuff because I feel like we're going to church too much.
Okay.
Really. But it's just who I am. I can't help it. I'm not going to lie. So, woke up. And I had written that song for Selena Gomez, Nobody. And it was out. And I got up. I made a coffee. God was like, come spend time with me. Huh? Hadn't heard that in a minute. Meaning feeling it.
Sure.
Come spend time with me. So I'm making my coffee. I'm like, okay, you've forgotten who you are. That's random. Okay. Come spend time with me. Go out to the beach with my coffee. Everybody stayed in bed. Eric didn't even know I was up, and I tend to get up pretty early anyway, alone. I went and sat on the beach. And the Lord said, go back to the beginning. Like, what does that mean? Can we stop speaking in code?
Okay.
Genesis, what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, your Genesis. And who reminded me, which is going to sound cuckoo-laroo, and I don't care. There was this book that someone left on my windowsill in Manhattan when I lived on the Upper East Side on the 6th floor of a walk-up building.
Whoa.
And it was Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love.
Wow.
And that was the way in for God for me.
Yeah.
Because I read that book, and I was like, oh, if this is what God is, I can get down with this kind of God.
Yeah.
But it opened the door.
Sure.
Go back to the beginning. Reread that. Revisit that feeling.
Yeah.
So I did. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is 2000 whatever. I can get this on my phone. Let me just re-download it right now. So I did. I read the first couple pages. And then I sat my phone down and I'm just closing my eyes. I can't meditate, by the way. Can you?
When I'm practicing, yes.
You can?
Oh, yeah. I enjoy it.
Quieting my mind is hard.
Oh, it is hard.
'Cause I have
It doesn't
all the
get
thoughts.
super silent.
Okay.
There's always a thought floating by.
Eric can totally quiet his mind and be like, I don't, maybe that
Takes
should be my
practice.
new thing.
And nothing? Like nothing's there?
He can just fully like go into that place.
It's rare that I have a nothing there. There's always at least
Yeah.
a few clouds
you do
rolling
that?
by.
No. Oh, no. She never shuts up. She's a yapper.
Not today, because Shane doing all the yapping.
Uh,
But anyway, as I'm sitting there, my phone starts playing my Selena Gomez song by itself, and it says nobody's gonna love me like you. Nobody, nobody's ever led me to the truth like you.
Nope.
And then
wow.
Holy Spirit said, "This is how I love you. You've forgotten who you are, but I haven't." Lay down in the sand and wept. I went back to the house, and my mother-in-law was there, and she said, "Honey," it's like Karen, "Honey, what's this? She said, "What's going on? What's different? You're glowing."
Ooh.
I said, "Girl, I am not glowing. It is 6:30 in the morning. I haven't even brushed my teeth. Don't get too close." She's like, "You're glowing. Something's changed."
Wow.
And I said, "The Holy Spirit reminded me that I've forgotten who I am and who I belong to." And I just woke up.
Whoa.
That's that confirmation thing God likes to do with me.
Dang.
But it's also the thing that God likes to do with everybody.
Yeah.
But we got to get still and quiet and be willing to listen.
Yeah.
Wait for your answer. You can't be talking all the time. There's a time for talking like right now.
Yeah.
But there's a time for stillness.
Yeah.
And it's not that complicated. I thought it was just so complicated. You got to be all holy and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be all that, like, oh, Lord God, our Father who art in heaven. Yes, I can pray the Lord's Prayer. And then, what, go to sleep? Be about my day?
Yeah.
Like, no, God, I got to get quiet to hear an answer. If you ask a school teacher a question, you got to shut your mouth to get an answer.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
So,
So
being
good.
kind of literal about all of it with that. Like, oh, you meant it.
Yeah.
So let's just do that. Let's just try that. Something different.
Wow.
So
I think we tend to overcomplicate God.
oh yeah. It's KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. You know.
That's funny.
God does really funny things with me, like faith, the word faith. For all's in thy hands.
Oh. Well,
You
you're a
got an acronym for
songwriter. You got
everything.
That kind of stuff is just like blah, 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 you know,
Wow.
helping me remember,
Uh-huh.
you know, just give it here, leave it here. Give me child, give me this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have a dad here on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, my dad died when he was 50 years old on Father's Day. I called him to say Happy Father's Day, which was a miracle. I've told this before. And he died. Happy Father's Day, Daddy. I'm coming to see you. And he legitimately dropped dead in the yard.
On the phone with you.
On the phone with me. The last thing, I'm coming to see you. I love you. Happy Father's Day. He waited. The Lord knew it. And and I still didn't like fully go in. Like we had miracle after miracle happen with all that. And I still didn't fully go in and believe. I was so traumatized and so hurt.
Yeah, of course.
But it's, like I said, it's not our timing.
Right. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, God, then you're just going to have to be my father and my mother and my grandmother and all my things, wherever for whatever I need.
Yeah.
Meet me there. Just meet me there.
Shoot.
Because my parents got married when they were 14 and 15.
Oh.
They did not come
What?
with a handbook of how to raise children.
Wow.
You know, my mom married this man thinking he loved her, and he did, but he was schizophrenic and bipolar, and turned into an alcoholic.
Yeah.
She had children 5 years apart, which we know that must have meant I was a oops. My sister came first. She said she woke up one morning, and he was a different person.
Wow.
And she's like, what am I going to do?
Shoot.
I can't go home. But they did the best they could.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Trying to escape from their childhood trauma.
So, before I got pregnant, I didn't really tell people that I wanted to get pregnant, that I wanted a child. It was something that very few people knew about. And I was going to go have breakfast with you and Eric that morning. And I remember driving there, asking God, like, should I tell them? Because it was such a secret thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, should I tell them?
Because you really didn't know if you wanted kids for a long time.
For a long time.
That might not work out.
And then it shifted, and I wanted them. And I was doing IVF, and it wasn't working, and I was getting older. My eggs were, they were what they were. So I remember driving.
Quite scrambled.
Yeah, when not quite scrambled, but they were there. They were just been in the fridge for a real long time. Yeah. They started changing color. So I'm driving there, and I was like, should I tell them? And I was like, okay, if they bring it up, I'll be honest, but I'm not going to volunteer this information. But if they bring it up, sure enough, we're sitting there at breakfast, and I don't know what makes you start asking me if I want kids, especially because you know where I've stood for a long time. Like, why would you bring this up? You know what I mean? Like, you know I don't want kids. Why would you all of a sudden just be like...
And that's the thing about me. I would say that, had so many Christians say, you're supposed to make children. And I always say, well, I know for a fact that there are children on this planet that I prayed to be here that are not mine.
Yeah, so they're like telling you, like, oh, you're a gay man, so you can't have kids, so that's why it's not right.
Wrong. And I have friends who had gone through IVF, who had endometriosis and endometriomas, and ovaries completely covered in tumors, like, that could not have children, that had several IVFs fail, like, so much. And even before me knowing that, I'd just randomly be like, do you want to have a kid? I did this to Elizabeth Berkley.
Wow.
The first and only time I met her in person. Apparently just said, do you want to have children? And she got mad at Mary Louise Parker because she thought Mary had said to me, her private business. And I was like, I'm sorry. No, she didn't say anything. I don't know why I just said to you, but I just feel like if you want children, God really wants you to have children, and you can. You just got to get out of the way of it. God really you want it. God wants it for you. And then I ran into Mary Louise. That's when she had to move back to LA for weeds, on the top of Runyon Canyon. And she told me, oh my God, do you remember when you said this to Elizabeth Berkley? And she got pregnant. It's the whole thing. So that was the first confirmation time. But I've had several friends that were struggling, and I would just be like, let me pray with you. People that aren't Christian at all, like Jewish friends, Muslim friends, like of all faiths, and going, I know that God created you to bring life forth. That's what you want. So he wants that for you. So let's just get in agreement with it right now. So if that's something that you're struggling with, I'm going to believe that for you. And I'm going to pray at one time. And it has happened every time. But it's not like sometimes they'll be like, hey, send up a good thought or whatever. We're really struggling to get pregnant. Or not at all. In Elizabeth Berkley's case, I'm not saying, it was a stranger.
Yeah.
And I just get the feeling.
Yeah.
And it's just like conversation like we're having right now. We're just talking, and I'm like, oh, by the way, did you want to have a baby? Are y'all going to have kids?
Yeah. It was like that at breakfast. And I was like, oh, well, I guess we're doing it because I said if he brings it up, I was going to be honest and I was going to tell him. And so I started telling you and Eric about my IVF experience. And then you were giving me this advice of, you know, operating as who I was created to be. Relax into it. Just start operating as this. You're a woman who was created to create. And if that's what you want,
that's what God wants.
Then start walking like that, right? And I remember that bringing me so much peace of like, because I had just done IVF, I had to do it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, like all these different
and
things.
How it does to your hormones and all your,
Yeah.
Hard.
And I had no idea at that breakfast I was already pregnant. I didn't even know it. And I didn't find out for, I think, 2 weeks after that. And I remember I called you. I FaceTimed you.
Started sobbing.
You and Eric.
Row. Oh, my God.
And you guys were driving.
Uh-huh.
And
I remember exactly where I was. I was by RCA studio.
I remember you guys were one of the first people that I called because of like this moment. I was like, I really have to call them and tell them this. And I recorded it and everything.
For so many people, a dangerous time because it's so early on and you're scared.
Yeah.
But you knew. Oh my gosh, if I'm pregnant, I'm staying pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have peace with this.
Yeah. So anyway, that I forgot we also have that like funny God connection of just like, now granted I was already pregnant, we didn't know it, but it was still like your like feeling and hearing. It
was the most random thing to ask at the time.
Where are you with kids? Like you're like seeing something, children, something's happening, and I'm like, okay, well, this is really hard. I'm going through this right now, not even knowing that this little baby Rosie is like
who's just sitting downstairs in a high chair.
Yeah.
Checking a booty to music.
Oh, yeah.
You made that little booty.
I love her so much. It's wild. Okay. The story that I want you to share is that one time you're going to a writing session with people that you didn't know before. And then Pastor Dan calls you. And then you're like laid out on the grass, like before you walk in. That story.
Abner and Amanda.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to a church in Kansas City, and there was a prophet there. We won't say names. And I was with a friend of ours, and we walked in, and he was prophesying over a group of people in this room. There's like 25 people probably, but we weren't supposed to be there, but we were supposed to be there. So we sit down at this table, and he's kind of started, he's praying for people, and then he's like prophesying over them, and people are crying, and I'm like, what is this? And I had not experienced that prophetic side of things very much, except through one of our friends. And about an hour to the second hour of him doing this, which seems wild, you know, like church and stuff, you're ready to get in, get out, girl.
Right.
But this was very private kind of group of people, and he was very specific, like he knew numbers and names, and I'm like, is he Googling what is happening? But it just was undeniable. And he looked over at me, and she said, turn on your recorder. I was like, voice memo. And I turned on voice memo, and he looked at me, and he said, the young man sitting over here, what's your name? Like he's prayed for all these people. I said, Shane. And he goes, the Lord loves your holy graffiti. It's all over the walls, like it's in the bathroom. You know, when you're in there, we all need to read in the bathroom. He's being funny a little bit. He goes, but the Lord just loves your holy graffiti. And I need to tell you, it's more than just the songs. It's songs in movies. It's songs in television. It's scripts. It's musicals. It's all. He's saying all this stuff. And I see a Stacy around you. And he's like, oh wait, you don't know Stacy. You're gonna meet a Stacy. And then after you meet Stacy, you're going to meet Pastor Dan. Okay, bless you. Praise for me. Oh, I just thank you for Shane. He kept calling me this one. I haven't recorded this one and what I'm going to do. So the night ends. He's done praying for everybody. I'm the last person he spoke to, and he's never seen me before, but he knew my friend, so he's like, this one sitting here, what is your name? So I get up to walk out, and he comes over, and he taps me on my shoulder. He says, and I turn around, he says, Shane, there's one more thing I need to tell you. I saw your garden. I said, what? You know, your garden in heaven, and Jesus met you there, and there's the tree and the water and the river, and your songs are on the tree. Girl.
And at this point, this was only a vision that you had.
It was an open vision, wide awake in church.
Yeah.
And it just had a fuchsia pink river. It was a tree with music note shaped fruit. It dripped words like honey. When the words hit the water, it became words and phrases. And I turned and looked to my left because I could feel the presence of someone, and Jesus was standing there. And I said, oh my God. And he just started laughing like crazy. And every time I'd say, oh my God, he would laugh. That was the funniest thing in the world. And his eyes were like, only a way I can describe it to people is it was like a screensaver. They changed color. They they just would. And I was like, oh my God. And he thought it was so funny. I kept calling him God. He goes, I said, what is this? He goes, well, this is your garden. Where? And I was like, am I dead? No, this is your garden in heaven. I'm like, well, what are these? He goes, well, these are your songs. Where'd you think they came from? I was like, I don't know. You can bring other people here. I can? Yeah. Enter my friend Hillary and Carrie. We had just written American Honey together. And they are walking up from the back of my garden wearing these linen satchels and holding hands. And I said, why are they holding hands? And Jesus is like, you know why they're holding hands. I'm like, no, they don't like each other like that. Why are they holding hands? And then they go over to my tree, and they're just taking fruit off the tree and putting it in their bag. Didn't give a shit about songs. I was like, why are they holding hands? And he just thought that was hilarious. And then I came up out of it, and we were in church. And I was like, I got to go. I got in the car and called Hillary. Miss Girl, you were holding Carrie Barlow's hand in this vision I just saw. She's saying, I'm holding his hand. I don't like him that way. Fast forward. So I introduced them. They end up falling in love with each other. And the baby that she was told she could never have. Never, not one oops. Not once. They told her since she was a teenager, she could not have children. And her ovaries, that was not possible. And she, years in to being with Carrie, got pregnant, and now they have who will be an 8-year-old daughter. Her name's Bennett, and she is the cutest, sweetest little blessing. They live on the same street as us. Miracle, baby.
Wow.
So I go from there, Kansas, back to here. I do this writing camp for, what's the one? X Factor. And this kid, Joe McElderry, had just won. And I'll never forget it because I was writing with Kevin Kadish, who wrote all about that bass. And we were working on a bunch of music together. And they came in, the head of A&R came in and said, okay, everybody stop. Don't write songs about girls. Joe McElderry has come out the closet. And I was like, okay. And they're like, just kind of make it ambiguous, blah, blah. And I'm like, what if he wants to just sing whatever he wants to sing? Why is this such a big deal? He's in the UK. He's gay. Whatever. He's gorgeous. Who cares? So I was like, we got to get out of this building. Let's go to your house and write a song. So we went and we wrote this song called Take Me As I Am. Simon Cowell falls in love with it. Next thing I know, I have to go to LA because they want me to go write in LA for Joe McElderry, of whom never recorded one of my songs, by the way.
Okay.
Also
you messed up.
Also didn't end up becoming a huge star, but amazing singer.
Yeah.
And so it was only for this. I am going to write with a person that I don't know. I'm staying with my friend Lauren Evans at her place instead of in a hotel because I'd rather be in a place where I can make breakfast and hang out.
Yeah.
And we watched My Fair Lady. No, sorry. That night we watched My Fair Lady. The first night I was there. Next morning, I have to go do a session, and then I go to meet her for a session, and I was like, oh, can we go to Aroma Cafe on Tahunga? That's my favorite place to have lunch in LA. And so she's like, yeah. And we get there, and I'm like, oh, my God, I don't have my wallet. She's like, no, I got you. So we have lunch, and we're talking, and I'm like, okay, I have to tell you something. I was in this place, this church, and this man said all these things to me, and he said, you know, you're going to meet Stacy, and then you're going to meet Pastor Dan, and then everything's going to change. She's like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing, and she fully speaks Christianese too. And so we finish our lunch, and we go a couple of stores down into this dress shop, and Lauren walks in the door, and she's this beautiful, like, black, buxom, big, gorgeous hair, like, and incredible voice.
Yeah.
And she starts singing Barbra Streisand, The Way We Were. And I said, Lauren, why are you singing Barbra Streisand, The Way We Were? And those aren't the words. And I said, did you ever see that movie, The Way We Were? She's like, no. I'm like, what? And this little lady behind the counter goes, oy vey, me the pain in my heart. You've never seen Barbara and The Way We Were? It's the most beautiful. Your girl is lovely, Hubble. The whole thing. And I was like, wait, we watched My Fair Lady last night for probably the 50th time in our life, and you've never seen The Way We Were? And I was like, and the lady, oh, you must remedy the situation. That's what the lady says behind the counter. And a few seconds later, this lady who's standing wearing remember those those like handkerchief dresses that were so huge for a minute?
Yeah.
She's wearing one of those in the counter. She goes, oh my God, this is so LA of me to say, but my grandfather was the art director on My Fair Lady. And I went, oh, the black and white scene? Like the whole thing? She's like, yes. And then this very loud Italian, New Jersey accent comes running out of the dressing room in a bra. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Your grandfather was friends with my friend, we'll call her Margaret. And they used to work together. Oh my God, did you know her? She just passed away. And they had this whole thing. And Lauren and I are just kind of standing there in the middle, like ping pong. Like, what's happening? And I'm like, huh. And then she goes, oh, well, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Your grandfather was a genius. And she goes, well, I'm an interior decorator. But I said, of course you are. Must be passed down. She goes, what do you do? She goes, my husband and I are songwriters. And we just moved from New York to LA, and they're doing this TV show movie for Disney. And I say, oh my gosh, we're singer-songwriters. Where do you live? She goes, right behind the Roma Cafe. I'm like, oh, it's my favorite place to eat lunch. And then she goes, I said, and Lauren here sang all the like demos and stuff and soundtrack of the Prince of Egypt. Like, she's a really big, amazing singer. She goes like, oh my gosh, we've got to work together. Like, amazing. Wow. And she goes, do you have a card? I said, I do. Now, don't stalk me. I pulled it out of my man purse. I had one of the side and I'm just making a joke. And she gave me hers, and I didn't look at the card. And we were talking about all these people we knew in common in New York, like Desmond Child, all that. And then we go outside. Oh, we're also standing. This is the cutest part of the whole thing. We're standing there, and then she realized she's standing in her bra. And she was like, oh my God. And she had to pick, because she had lost like 10 or 15 pounds and needed some new shirts or whatever. And so she puts the thing on. She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, girls, I'm gay. It's fine. I've seen all the boobies. It's all good. So we finish talking in the store and exchange information and go outside. And I said, you know what? I'm so sorry. I didn't even think to ask your name. I gave you my card. I didn't even think to ask your name. And she goes, hi, Shane. I'm Stacy. And I burst into tears and ran to the trash can like I was going to puke. Like, it was like, I can't handle this. Stacy, you're going to meet Stacy, and then you're going to meet Pastor Dan. And this was Stacy. And my friend Lauren goes, he's going to need a minute. He's going to need a minute. He's going to come back, but he's going to need a minute. And so she starts to tell her a little bit about it. And I walk over, and she's like, well, clearly we were supposed to meet. I said, well, let's get together and write a song. I leave, go to our other friend's house, and then I go over to Abner and Amanda's house, Johnny Swim. Because we would have like wine and cheese and prosciutto and pray and love on each other and talk. So I walk in the door, and I'm telling them about this whole prophetic word, and I've just got to meet Stacy, and then I'm going to meet Pastor Dan. And Abner spit his wine and cheese out. Gracie, because you know he calls me Grace. Gracie, come in here. Tell Amanda, tell her this. And I was like, well, he said I was going to meet Stacy, and then I was meet Pastor Dan, and then I met Stacy today, and I don't even know. This is wild. She goes, really? Pastor Dan like that? I'm like, yeah, Pastor Dan. She goes, Shane, Pastor Dan's our pastor. I said, no, he's not. We don't go to a church with a man named Pastor Dan. She goes, no, 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 no. She goes into this whole story about her parents and what was going on with her mom. And if y'all that don't know, that Amanda is Donna Summer's youngest daughter. And so we'd all been going to church together in Nashville and church together in LA and church together in New York. So I know all the pastors, but apparently didn't know this one. And she tells me this whole story of how her parents met Pastor Dan and how he changed her life. And he's really prophetic and it's got to be him. Can she send an email? I'm like, yes, but don't tell him anything. So we go to their little table. This is when they lived over in, off of Barham, in their little apartment I loved. Hey, Pastor Dan, my friend Shane got a prophetic word that he was going to meet somebody named Stacy and then he was going to meet Pastor Dan. If you could pray about it and see if it's you, this is his phone number. Not last name, not my email, nothing. Just this is his phone number. Could you give him a call? I guess he emails her back. She tells me he emailed her and to expect a phone call. So the next day, I am going to write with this producer I've never met and another artist named Sam Sparrow, who's Australian, gorgeous, had this black and gold song. And I get out of my Pontiac Vibe rental car. It goes, meep, meep, hit the lock. I'm walking into this place in West Hollywood, this apartment, and my phone rings, and it says New Jersey. And I'm like, hello? Hey, Shane. Hello, yeah? This is Pastor Dan. I laid down in the grass and sit in the sun. Like, thought I was going to be all cute that day. I've sweat. I'm like, hey, Pastor Dan, I think I'm supposed to meet you. He goes, I think so too. So I was praying for you and I was asking the Lord some questions. So I have some questions for you. I said, okay. He goes, well, are you a singer-songwriter? I said, yes, sir. He said, do you live in New York City and in Nashville? Yes, sir. Are you thinking about going to LA? I said, yes, sir. He goes, well, yeah, you're going to do that for a little bit. And I said, he goes, and is your father, your dad, no longer on earth? I said, yes, sir. He died on Father's Day. He goes, okay, it's you. And I am now crying. And he says, so 3 years ago, my wife, Pastor Kathy, woke up and she said, Dan, there's a young man who's a singer-songwriter. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee, and in New York City, and he needs to go to LA. And he doesn't have a dad, and we don't have children. But Dan, you're called to be his father for the rest of your life. Y'all, when I say ugly, like Oprah crying, like Oprah snot running, I can't breathe. Oh my God. And then he's like, and I just see the Lord is just pouring honey over your head. What does honey mean to you? First of all, the tree with the honey. Second of all, my song had just gone #1 called American Honey. You can't make this up. And he's telling me all this stuff. He's like, I know this is overwhelming and I'm going to tell you more if we could talk at another time. I'm now about 30 minutes late for my writing appointment and I'm sitting in the front yard and I see Sam Sparrow walk past me. This gorgeous, tall guy I'm like, oh my God, that's Sam Sparrow. That's who I'm writing with today. And I am crying sitting in the grass. I go inside a few minutes later. I'm like, oh, my co-writer just walked by. I've got to go. Let's talk soon. He's like, I'll call you. I know this is overwhelming, but listen, God's doing this and you're going to LA. You're moving to LA. That doesn't mean let go of Nashville and New York, but you're moving to LA. Like, okay. So I go inside and they look at me and they're like, are you okay? Yeah, I don't know what I feel. I was just on the phone. And I'm like, and I start crying. This man called me And I got this prophetic word that I was going to meet Stacy, and then I met Stacy, and then this man was going to, this pastor named Pastor Dan, and then everything was going to change. As soon as I met Pastor Dan, everything was going to change. And and Sam stands up. He goes, "What? Who did you say? I have never met this man in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about Pastor Dan? Pastor Dan Fessler?" And I'm like, I don't know his last name. He said, "Let me see your phone." And he looked at the phone, and he goes, "That's Pastor Dan Fessler in Sewell, New Jersey. His church is called The Waters. He's my dad's best friend and the greatest man I've ever known." I said, "We are going to need to have a cocktail." And I said, "What?" He goes, and he tells me the whole story. His parents were atheists. His dad became like one of the biggest worship songwriters and leaders in the world.
Wow.
Like Hillsong, like a whole thing.
Wow.
And they were invited to go to a church by some neighbors in New York, which is so random. They moved to America when he was 5. They were living in the city. Someone invited them to go to church. Finally, they just went. And the guest speaker, the pastor that was there wasn't there, and there was a guest speaker, and it was Pastor Dan. And Pastor Dan looked at him from the stage and told him what was going to happen. And that's what happened. And he said, so he grew up from the time being a little boy, commuting from New York City, just like I ended up doing, to go to Pastor Dan's church. And his dad would like play in the band and lead worship, and it changed his whole life.
Wow.
That's how important we are to God. If we'll just listen. Even when things look cuckoo and crazy, some random person come up and be, "You're the Lord done told me." I'm not talking like that. I'm talking,
right.
Well, they're like, "Well, how do you know that was going to be the truth?" And I said, "Because it felt like the truth." You know when somebody's lying usually. But it felt like the truth. And he said things about me that nobody could know.
Right.
And Amanda didn't say a word to him.
Right.
She knew, oh shit, this is this is a monument. This is life-changing.
Yeah.
And it changed my whole life. And there is nothing that Pastor Dan has prophesied over me now that hasn't happened.
Wow.
It's not like he's a fortune teller or a psychic.
Sure. Yeah.
He's just tapped into the Holy Spirit. And I'm so grateful. I don't know how. I don't know where I would be if God didn't send me a new dad.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That changed the entire course of my entire life.
Wow.
It really did. And the confirmation that I get. The man literally said to me the first day I met him, I've got black fingernail polish on. Never painted my nails ever in my life. Went with my friend's daughter to get a manicure. She says, "You got to get nails. I went to Fire Island for the first time. Out there dancing with all the gays, having a good old time. Pastor Dan texts, "Hey, can you come to church?" I'm like, I'm going to leave Fire Island, get in my smart car, and drive to New Jersey. 2 hours. Sure did, girl. Shorty. Got in my car. I am decked out in All Saints head to toe. Like my little skinny jeans, my little All Saints boots, my little jacket, my hair did, and my nails on. Never done. Walk in, he's like, "Get on stage." What? He's like, "Well, when I texted you, if you know you've got a friend by Carol King," I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "And shower the people with love." I'm like, "Well, yeah." James Taylor goes, "Well, just get on stage. You're going to sing." I've never met this man. And they didn't let us do that when I was a kid. The K Kid was not getting up to lead worship. Like, you might be able to stand in the background, but you ain't leading worship. So they sing a couple worship songs. I'm like, "Hi, band. Nice to meet you." Lou and a bunch of people. And we start singing these worship songs that I knew, like "How Great Is Our God," you know. And then Pastor Dan's like, "You've got a friend." And somehow they knew what key was good for me. And I start singing, "When you're down in trouble, you need a helping hand. Oh, well, and nothing is going right." And so I get to, "You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you gotta do is call, and I'll be there, yes I will. You've got a friend." And people start falling out on the floor. in worship. And then Pastor Dan's like, shower the people. So I'm like, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way you feel. Things are gonna get much better if you only will. And then the Holy Spirit hits me like never before. And I am feeling this weight on me. And I am bending over. And God's like, just let go. Let go. My fear of man and what people thought of me left that day. And as I am just now laying in the floor, holding the microphone, singing James Taylor, shower the people with love. There were like 75-year-olds and 80-year-olds in full out worship to these two not worship songs, which I've never experienced. When you go to church, they are singing, bless the Lord, oh my soul.
Sure.
Like not, like, how great is our God? And I'm singing Carole King songs. We leave after that and go to lunch. And he just starts and says, turn on your recorder. I'm like, okay. And he goes, so I have to tell you something. Beyonce's going to love you.
Ooh.
I said, excuse me.
Ooh.
Sir, Beyonce's going to love you. You're going to be in the studio with her, and you're going to, there's a couple other people there, and she's just going to ask you where you get so much soul, and you're going to say, Jesus. And 3 weeks later, it happened.
No. At this point, when you get the call, like, hey, you're going to go meet with Beyonce, does his word immediately come to your brain?
You know what? No, not at that. Because I knew, so her cousin, Angie, wrote Check Up on It and Naughty Girl and all that, is like one of my best friends. And the way she met me is she came to Nashville, and a friend of mine was staying in my apartment, and she knew him. He used to work at Music World, and she knew him, and she walked into my apartment, and she saw the design and said, whose apartment is this? They are fabulous, and I need to know them. She saw these black glass chandeliers, and you remember when the first Sex and the City movie in that blue color that they painted Sarah Jessica's apartment?
I don't remember.
Carrie Bradshaw's apartment. That was the color. I hunted it down.
Okay.
And that was what my entry. And she was like, this person loves Carrie Bradshaw and fashion and beauty, and they're a songwriter. I need to know them. And so he connected us. And then she and I got together, and we wrote some songs. And I mean, she told me she was Beyonce's cousin, and I knew all of her songs that she'd written. And after I got to know her, I was like, this is absolutely, this is the way you write. No wonder she loves your songs, you know? And no wonder y'all create this amazing music together. Like, this is incredible. And then a few weeks later, after Pastor Dan said that to me, I'd never met her.
Yeah.
And then I got the invite to come to the studio.
Wow.
And then it all happened. And I don't go into detail about all that stuff, but she is a beautiful human being. Angie, we pray, and Angie is a songwriter, but she decided in her second half of life to become an actress, and now she plays Pam on Sisters on BET.
Wow.
And she is a full-time cast member. She just decided, I'm going to be an actress. And girl,
let's go, Angie.
And she was on her first talk show last week on Sherry Shepherd. And I'm so proud of her.
That's so cool.
Because she's so tiny and precious and beautiful and talented and such an incredible, like, writer, like script writer, book, like she can do anything. And I mean, Beyonce be on stage singing Naughty Girl and Check Up on It, and Angie's under the stage sewing on a rip in a costume. Like, she's just so creative and so beautiful. And I was like, I said to her, like, you want to be an actress? God's gonna make this happen, girl. And dang, he did.
Wow.
And they are such a close family.
Yeah.
And so that's why I get real protective over her, because I'm like, y'all need to shut up. You don't know nobody. You don't know nobody.
Yeah.
These are some prayerful people. Yeah. That family thrives because they love each other.
Yeah.
And they love God. And that is real. And she's so thoughtful. Everyone around her. Kelly Rowland is one of the people that shifted my financial life. And you know why? Because in the middle of a session, let me tell you how thoughtful Kelly Rowland is. how she thinks about songwriters.
Okay.
She knows it is expensive to live in LA.
Yeah.
It is expensive to rent a studio, especially when you're working with an A-list artist. And
Uh-huh.
we're trying to do a Christmas song.
Yeah.
And she comes in, she goes, I have a chef. What do y'all want to eat? I want to have that prepared for y'all to bring it here. I said, ma'am? Well, okay. So her chef made us our dietary needs because, we all got dietary needs in LA. I was like, does your chef do Botox? But chef prepares us food. She comes to the studio. We're talking about life. I'm in that independent life, trying to, make my money as royalties are changing, and it's hard to make money in the streaming world as a songwriter, and which is why I'm on the board for Sona fighting for our rights. And she looks at me and says, this is very personal. This girl has just met me. Are you tithing? I said, ma'am. She goes, are you tithing? Like, are you faithfully tithing? I'm like, well, I tithe my time, and when we have the money, she said, no. Shane, your whole life is going to change again. You've gone out on your own. When you don't have it is when you give it. You have to trust that God is going to be your provider and your only provider. So whatever you have, give it.
Wow.
And we weren't in a physical church. And so I just didn't think about it that way. Like, I would tithe to Pastor Dan when I was at church.
Yeah.
And then you leave and you don't think about it. Because I was raised in poverty.
Yeah.
And hold on to what you got because you don't know. And, well, then put a little money in the offering plate. Like, she just got real with me and said, God's going to take care of you. God is going to provide for you. So just give it, whatever you got.
Wow.
And it shifted everything.
Wow.
It changed. And Eric didn't understand that stuff.
Sure.
And I was like, I don't care if we have to put it on a credit card. I don't care what we got. Like, we are living in Hollywood. I've got another play. Like, I'm trying to figure this out in between. And God, do you know that the head of my admin company at the time called me, and she said, Shane, I know it's really expensive for you to be in LA. Do you need some money?
Wow.
Because hit songs only pay for so long.
Sure.
And I was making money, but it's expensive. I had to have another car. We're in our apartment. We're in West Hollywood. We got to pay taxes. And that woman said, do you need some money?
Wow.
And sent me $80,000.
What?
Whoa.
Come out?
Hit my account.
Come again?
It's more expensive for you to live in LA. So we're going to give you another advance. And she put $80,000 in my account the week that I sent my first tithe. Random. When does a corporate company call you out of the blue and just say, how are you doing? You need some money?
Never.
Sass Metcalf is her name. She was the head of Cobalt forever, and she changed my whole financial life right there in that moment. Because I was like, oh my God. Eric had just been let go from his job. Like, whoa, I'm the moneymaker.
Yeah.
How are we going to do this? We were renting out my apartment in New York City. Everything that could go wrong in that apartment on Airbnb went wrong. Like, never have a problem.
Right.
Never, ever had a problem. Those people above me have a baby. That baby starts walking around and starts flushing things in the toilet and floods my apartment in Manhattan. Like, there's so much that went wrong. Somebody's there and they cut the wires and there's no internet or cable. Like, just that kind of stuff. But, yeah. But that's all I'm going to say about that whole crew is just they love each other so well.
Yeah.
And they love other people well, and they take care of their people, and they take care of other people. And you know what they don't do? They don't talk about it.
Yeah.
They don't have to tell nobody.
Yeah.
So I get real. People start talking about Destiny's Child or talking about, I'm like, oh, no, shut up. They show love to one another and to everyone around them. And they're badass business women.
Yeah.
Like, men can be powerful or whatever. Nobody says a damn word. But if a woman is, then she's a bitch.
Yeah.
That's not my experience. And
That's great.
Isn't that wild? You can't make it up. You can't make it up. And it's so fun because everybody that knows me knows it. They're like, well, I mean, it's like when I went to Thailand and everybody's like, Shane, you're going to be in Thailand and Phuket and Jesus going to come walking out on the water or something. Crazy. That didn't happen.
Shane has the craziest stories, which is why I'm like, I can't wait for your book. I can't wait for your your podcast, your story, like however we can get all your stories out. These are so fun, and you're gonna keep having more fun stories.
More
this
and
is
more because
so,
I'm expecting them. I have an
Yeah.
expectant heart.
There it is. I need to make sure I'm expecting. I
Mm.
got him.
Expecting, not
Got
the
it.
just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
So,
I can't wait for your book to come out one day. You have so many great
Really?
stories.
Krista Black
and-
no, Krista Black texted me the other
Uh-huh.
day and said, "I dreamed last night you wrote a book."
No, she didn't.
No, here you are.
And then I
Yep.
just said your book.
Mm-mm.
Stop. Look at the Lord using me.
Look at the Lord using
Hey.
Anjelah, Funjelah.
Oh my goodness.
No joke. I read your
Ooh.
book twice.
Thank you.
Sure did. Shared it. Told people.
Thank you. Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, good. Thank you
I
so
loved
much.
it. I loved it. And did you ever read Viola Davis's book?
I did not.
It's the most life-changing book
What?
I have ever read. Not that your book isn't life-changing.
Okay, yeah.
But for every creator, for anyone who is a creator,
Oh.
Uh-huh.
if you ever doubt that there's something you can do, like
Mhm.
if you read Viola Davis's book, and especially Audible,
Yeah.
because girl, that woman's
You got to hear
voice.
it. Yeah.
I laid there crying. I had to listen to chapters over and over because I was crying so hard.
Whoa.
I was like, if she can do it, there is nothing I can't do. Because I came from some crazy stuff.
Sure.
But Viola Davis
Wow.
had it harder
Whoa.
than any story I have ever heard.
Whoa.
And you know when you recognize the truth,
Uh-huh.
because it just, you get those full chills all over your
Sure,
body.
sure,
It's
yeah.
a knowing, it's a feeling. And it's just like this
Yeah.
woman is spilling all the tea. She is telling it all.
Yeah.
No one wanted to become something in this business of acting or entertainment
Mm-hmm.
more than Viola Davis, I think. It is the most beautiful, most inspiring book I
Wow.
have ever read.
Oh my gosh.
Ever.
Wow.
Well, plugged right here. Viola Davis. Hey.
Like, yeah, me immediately pulling it up on
Oh,
Amazon. Well, let me purchase this.
Yeah.
Sweet Lord.
Wow. Well, that's gonna be Danielle. That's gonna be my next airplane book that takes me 2.5 years to read.
I was about to say, I was
because
like, good Lord.
Danielle finishes books in a weekend.
Same.
And
Yeah,
you
I was
do?
like, I'll have like 100 books read by the time you
Yeah.
finish reading this book.
You
it
won't
takes
be
me
able
like
to-
a good year and a half.
You will not be able to turn it off.
All right. Okay.
Every creator needs to read
Okay.
it.
You heard it
Yeah,
right
go
here.
for the Audible.
You'll
Go
call
for
me
the
and you'll be
Audible
like,
range.
oh my God, I wrote a movie yesterday.
Ooh. All right. I'm gonna listen.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Shane. All right.
Okay.
We before we sign off, we usually listen to a voicemail message from a listener who has called to tell us what they are grateful for. So Danielle has picked one for us to hear, and to anybody who's watching, listening, you know the drill, or maybe you don't know the drill. It's your first time tuning in. Here's the phone number that you can call to tell us what you are grateful for.
747-300-5380. Give us a call.
Is that Manny singing
No.
that? Who is that singing?
No, it's not Manny singing that. That is Gabe Gibbs.
Hey, Gabe Gibbs.
He's from Broadway.
Oh.
He wrote us this. He was a guest on my show, and he had watched some previous episodes before he came on. He was like, "You need a jingle
Yeah, you
for
did,
your
188.
exactly
300 Empire today.
yeah, exactly." So he wrote us a jingle, and now we use it every episode.
Oh
And I
my
love
gosh, come
it.
on, Jingle Jangle.
Yes.
Yes.
So again,
Thank you, Gabe.
let me tell you, Gabe, that was the smartest thing you could have done, because now I promote you every episode.
No joke.
Because everybody wants to know, and they go, "Oh, Gabe Gibbs, you should look him up." Oh my gosh,
They're
free
like, "Who is
promo.
Gibbs?"
That was smart, Gabe. Look
Was he-
at you little
Was he born
sneaky.
with that name, Gabe Gibbs?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a
Like,
stage
did they
name
know
or not.
their parents? I feel like they knew. They're like, oh, he's gonna be famous.
I like to
Let's
call
name
him
Gabe Gibbs.
Gabriel Gilbert.
He grew up a
but,
PK and
yeah.
has the whole story of that
Wow,
in
okay,
music and
wow.
everything, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, play us a voicemail.
Okay.
Hey, Anjelah. I am grateful for my wife. She is one of the best, amazing persons that I have ever met in my life. She understands me. She listens to me. And all she wants is the best for me to look in life. And I'm also grateful for my son for being a good kid, pulling his work through as being a barber in Arizona. And I'm also grateful for my life. I went from nothing, started from a kid from the gutter, and now grown up, did my way, and I became a tattoo artist. And I enjoy your comedy shows. I've been to your comedy shows a couple of times. You are super funny, Anjelah. And I'm also grateful for you for having your kind of career to make us laugh. I love you, Angie. Bye.
Oh my
Probably weird, but
gosh.
I love you. Bye.
Oh.
Not weird at all. I love you back. Thank you so much. You didn't say your name.
I know.
But thank you, sir.
He didn't. But
for
it was a good.
calling
I really
in.
liked that one.
That was so special and genuine, and it's like you
Honest.
can feel the love that he has for his wife, and that was the fact that he would call in to say that, like, that's really, really special. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for sharing that, and hopefully you can make it out to a show. I think you said you were in Arizona, or it was just his
Arizona.
son was in Arizona. Well, hopefully I'll be there New Year's Eve, so come to my show.
Come on.
So special. Thank you, Shane.
Mm.
What an episode
Oh,
this
Lordy.
has been. Thank you for gracing my listeners with your presence and your stories and your miracles and all of that. Can you please tell everybody where they can find you, your music, your on socials, where can they find more of you?
I'm trying really to get better at social media.
Okay.
So I am on Instagram at Shane Stevens Music and on TikTok as well.
Okay. Shane Stevens Music on TikTok.
yes.
Okay.
You know, I'm fine being on the stage, but I want everything to come across as being authentic. So I'm just trying to you're so good at just being you. Like, you can just pick up your phone and be like, so today I was in the grocery store and then this lady came over and said, oh my God, where did you get this lettuce? And then it's the funniest, cutest thing that you've ever seen. You're just talking about lettuce, you know? But that's also a testament to who you are. You're a girl's girl and a people's people.
Thank you.
And, you know, I was just with two friends in New Hampshire, both of them that had breast cancer. And one of them, they were both at this comedy show of yours over a decade ago. And
Wow.
they had a whole group of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, you love to have people backstage or whatever. But
Yeah.
there were so many of you like, you know what? Let me do this and I'm going to come to you.
Mhm.
Everybody always says the same thing. She's so present.
Mm.
And they feel like they know you. You feel like you know them. That you loved her so well. That you were just so excited for her. And what God was going to do in her life. And she's completely cancer-free
Wow.
and thriving and gets to be. I met her in Thailand.
Wow.
I'm going through their wedding album, and there's you.
Stop.
Not in their, not as, it was a printed album.
Yeah,
but it was a picture that she had with you and her group of her girls, and it was so special and important to her that it was there. And the way you touched her life and you brought her so much joy.
Thank you.
In the hardest place in her life, you know, and she ended up, her wife ended up, who was the grandmother of a child, and they ended up raising this child.
Wow.
And they're both healthy, and he has moms.
Wow.
Because they don't have cancer and they lived.
Wow.
But you didn't look at her like she was sick.
Yeah.
You looked at her like she was well. And you made her laugh and you brought her joy, and that's who you are.
That's special. Thank
That's
you for
who you
sharing
are.
that. Thank you.
Like, that's who you are at your core.
Thanks.
That's why you're thriving, because you tell the truth. And you tell it all the time. And you're being authentically who you are and being vulnerable in front of the world. And we don't have enough of it. Everybody nobody's, for the most part, aren't crying on Instagram. Or sharing
I'll send you some videos.
It's gotten more and more, you know, maybe I'm just not in that algorithm as much, but like sharing, it's not just look at me with you all the time. It's this is who I am. This is what I'm going through. And that's what connects on your stage.
Well, thank you.
And on this.
Thank you.
And in friendship.
Thank you. That means the most. Thank you. I want to, I'll just say thank you. It's like we can't end.
We can't end. What are we talking about? Oh, well, what can't we talk about?
I'm just very grateful, and I feel like I'm walking away from this episode with a lot to think about and consider and partake in, and just like, just exactly how I started this episode, saying that I anytime I'm spending time with you, I walk away feeling a type of way, in a positive way. But I'm just really grateful that you came in and blessed everybody, and my prayer is that people will be blessed by this. And I'm sure there will be some people that are like, no, you can't be gay and Christian.
That's okay.
Sorry.
And that is their God-given right.
Yeah.
And, as long as we are in a free country, they can feel and believe and do whatever they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. I'm not here to save the world. I'm just here to love people well.
There it is.
And just like in elections or anything else, whatever happens, I'm going to pray for whoever's in there.
Yeah.
And believe the best, and remember that God is in control, not some other person.
Yeah.
And we're going to be okay, and we're going to be together, and we're going to love each other well.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
Amen.
Period.
Yeah. Amen.
So, listen, your faith is in God, not man.
That's right. And that's what's got me all twisted, is everybody being like, this person is Jesus. I'm like, what? What?
Am I Jesus?
Come on. Okay.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, and I hope this has blessed your life. I feel like it for sure has. So thank you so much for tuning in, and check out Shane's music.
Yes, Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon, and Don't Hijack My Jesus.
That's right. Go check out his music and spread the word. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
I love you, honey.
I love you too.
God, I just thank you for Anjelah. I thank you for her life. I thank you for this family. I thank you for this podcast. I thank you for blessing her tour and blessing everything in her life. Anything that she touches just turns to platinum, God. Anything and everything. That you have more for her in her acting, and anything that she wants to do in her creative life, and anything she wants to do in this family, that you would just pour it out in abundance and light up the path for her in the direction she's supposed to go. God, show her where to say no more and where to say yes more. And I just thank you for it. I thank you for who you are and who you say she is, that she is the daughter of the Most High God, and that everything you have for her is going to happen, and she will see it in this life and in this lifetime. And I just thank you for this beautiful baby that is Rosie, and I thank you for the creativity that you're pouring into her and her personality, and I thank you for the health and the well-being that you have for this family in this house. And God, I thank you that Anjelah is pure joy, and she's going to continue to pour it out over the world, and they are going to see it and hear it in mega ways on a Megatron. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for our first prayer on the podcast. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's why
I love it.
You're here. That's why you're my friend. I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mwah.
Bye.